It's live.
It's live.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Pardon the technical difficulties we were having earlier. We are about 27 minutes late, so we're not going to belabor you with anything else. We're going to hop right into the show. I, of course, am the big bad wolf. Oh, and I am joined by my panel of co-hosts. Willie A. Price speaks the truth and nothing but the truth.
That's it.
The lovely Christine Brooks, and our youngest in charge, Shaughnessy Anders, and of course, realtor Miss Lakia A. Perry.
I am the lovable, but I'll take it. Thank you.
You're what?
I love that hat. It's fit for the season. So I'm wearing a Russian girl hat.
That hat ain't got nothing to do with no season. She probably ain't did her hair. That's what it is.
Okay, Molly. Next.
She ain't did her hair, so she got that hat on.
I am the lovable, but I'll take it. Thank you.
As long as she ain't got no bonnet on, we good.
Somebody has.
It's fit for the season.
One moment. Somebody.
Got some feedback going.
That's David.
Yeah.
That's David. Next.
We can hear his phone.
It might be Dave.
Yeah, I think he's experiencing a delay. There we go. That's better. Now we're gonna hop right into the source material. Pardon me. Let me find it.
Where's that girl, Annetta?
King Day to everybody.
She's having technical issues too. It might be just the weather that's coming through. So bear with us. All right. The first topic we're gonna have is, when should men give up playing video games? And is it a problem? I'll let the ladies handle this one before I hop in.
I think for some women they have no problem with it because they feel like, oh, well, I know where he is. He's here, every day playing a game. So for some women, I think it's a comfort, but then for others, they see it as problematic because the man may be so into gaming that she may feel like he's checked out of reality. Like once work is over, it's game time and there's no personal time, very little time, interaction with family. So, I think as with anything, it's about balance, and some people get out of balance with it. They kind of let it overtake their lives.
And how much is enough? Like, how much gaming are you doing? Is it a hobby? Are you coming home from work at 5:30, sitting there? I'm taking your plate to the game. And then after that, you're sitting there for hours and hours. Are you getting upset? Are you throwing a remote control at the TV? Are you doing these things? Because I know for me, I will go in my son's room and we will sit and play Crash and Mortal Kombat and Pac-Man. And it started at 11 o'clock after breakfast on Saturday, and we look up and it's 2 o'clock. And I'm like, how did I do this? But I would never do that on a regular day. It's Saturday. We're not doing anything.
Yeah. And then, like I said, so for some men, it's a daily thing, and it's 3 or 4 hours or more a day. Once they're off work, that's it. It's like they plug into the game and escape reality.
Yeah.
Could y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we can.
Can you hear us? David, can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear y'all.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so let me ask this question. What is wrong with escapism if that's what a guy does? If that's how he's using video games?
I don't think there's anything wrong with escapism, but what they're saying is the time frame, the amount of time, if you're taking that much time, 3 hours a day or 4 hours a day, when you come home, you're not taking any time with the family or with her, or, you're basically coming in. And I've seen that. I actually I used to play video games. I had a best friend of mine, and we used to play Madden. And I would get off of work at 5 o'clock and go to his house every single day till like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, playing Madden every single day. And we did that for almost a month and a half. And I was like, what the hell am I doing? And so I know it could be addicting, you know, and that time I could have been doing some other things. And if you have a family, you can't get off of work and walk into the house. And like she said, you know, Chauncey said, bringing him his food, and he's sitting in there playing the game and not involved with anybody, just playing that game, you know, 3-4 hours
every single day.
Yeah, that every day. That's a little much.
Well, why would you say it's a little much? Well, let's look at it like this.
I just told you why.
Hold on. No,
Because you're not interacting with the family.
But I'm going to systematically take apart what you guys have just said, because I'm one of those persons that used to do that. If a man comes home, he doesn't have any children, which a lot of brothers don't. And being that this panel is all black, we're going to focus on that for a moment. Most black men in this country don't have children. We know that most aren't married. So if a man comes home, the finances are met, he's not out running around, and he's not married, then what harm is he actually doing to the family structure that doesn't exist?
So you're talking about a single person at home?
Hold on.
A non-issue.
You're talking about a single person at home? That's not
No. Because if we're dealing with married people, I think which only one of us on the panel might be, then where's the damage actually? Because what a lot of women will say is that he's not giving me any time. Well, how much time does a woman actually need from a man?
There's a difference between playing your game, having your game as a hobby, and being a gamer.
I'm a gamer. Always have been. It's never impacted any facet of my life. But that's why I preface this by saying, A, I don't have any children, and B, I'm not married, which the overwhelming majority of black men in this country fit into that demographic. This is why
you're changing the whole scenario.
Yeah.
The question was about
really
how do you feel about, so that means it has to be two people in the household. If you're asking that question, how do you feel about that situation?
Yeah.
And so you're changing the whole scenario of what the question is about. That's not what the question is about. Is how would they feel if their partner was coming home playing video games every day, 3-4 hours a day, taken away from, you know, whatever's going on in the household.
Because if we're in a relationship, but we do not cohabitate, I don't care how you spend your time on a game.
But that's exactly what it is. But that's exactly what it is, because most of us aren't cohabitating. We're living apart.
But let's look at it as
we're
if
not
we
even
live together.
talking
Yeah,
about
let's look at it that way. I think that's more
what
what the question was geared towards.
Yeah.
If you have a person in your household, your man coming home, and you got a family,
that's a change of conversation.
And you change the whole scenario. But you know, if you got a family and you come home to that family every day, and the majority of your time is spent 3 to 4 hours a day playing video games, and maybe more on the weekends.
All right, fine, fair enough. So a man that comes home, he engages the family from whatever time let's say he gets out of work at 5, he comes home, and from 6 to 9, he engages the children, his wife.
That's not what we're saying.
Scenario
again.
Hold on.
Well, wait, it was what age too old? So he's going on with the scenario. So what's your
making
scenario?
a new scenario from?
No. I'm saying a man comes home. He engages the family and his wife from 6 to 9. And
that wasn't a scenario. That's not what we were saying. We said he comes home and gets on the game for 3 to 4 hours, which means he's not engaging the family.
And that's what I'm saying.
He engages the family.
I'm not changing the scenario. I'm just simply moving the parameters. I'm saying,
So, I mean, well, you have to answer that one.
But that's why I give it to them.
I'll answer it because I think I when I gave my initial comment on it, this is what I said. It's about balance. If If he's coming home and he's still engaged, or after work, if he's still engaging with his family and children, then, you know, his game time, there's no problem. It's when it's out of balance. It's when that's what he does in lieu of interacting with the family.
Right.
You know, it's not that being a gamer in itself is a bad thing. It's not that the escapism is a bad thing. When I go on vacation, I see it as escapism. It's balance. So if it's out of balance, it's a problem.
So to me, if he was including his kids and he was playing with them, it would be different other than him going into the man cave, door locked, and he calling his buddies, whatever, and they playing for 2-3 hours having tournaments, whatever. But meanwhile, has no interaction with the family.
I mean,
that's homework.
They need to be doing schoolwork during the week. They don't need to be on no games.
Oh, damn video games for 3 hours a day. No. And even he should be playing video games every night after he finished playing with the family and the kids. Now he up all night.
Right. When you gonna
9, 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night playing video games.
Every night?
No. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so wait. So let me put this wrench in there. So what's the difference between an individual deciding to go bowling, an individual deciding to go to a bar, or doing those things once a week?
Every night.
Every day is what we say. It ain't no once a week.
Hold on. No. I'm saying if he replaces that activity with something else, what is the difference? Because we seem to be focusing on the fact that he's playing games as opposed to he's out doing something else with his friends.
The question was video games. It had nothing to do with going bowling every night.
And if you go bowling every night, you still not engaged.
You can't change the question.
Thank you. I'm not changing the question, Willie. I'm substituting an activity.
The question was, how do you feel about a person playing video games? It didn't say going bowling. It didn't say playing hockey. It said playing video games for hours every day.
I know where Herb coming from this, because prior to this week's show, that was one of the questions that I had asked in one of the scenarios. Like, what would be the difference if someone, like I said, played cards or whatever the case? But just say if they did that every day, like, okay, you already know I'm going to.
Is
it any difference to video games or playing cards or going bowling?
Anything that's out of balance and is taking you away from being an interactive part with the family is problematic.
And if they're playing cards, you're talking about you got folks up in your house 3-4 hours a night playing cards, playing chess, playing whatever, playing. Go home. 3 hours, 3-4 hours a night, every night.
That's even like when I know there's a lot of ladies that like to play Candy Crush on their phone, and it's a lot of men that hate it.
Yeah.
So
you know, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say that.
I can't sit up here and play Candy Crush for 7 hours straight and ignore the kids, and they swinging from chandeliers
every day.
And I didn't make dinner
every day.
But see,
that's unacceptable. But there's people that do it. It's people that do it. There's ladies,
and that's the question. How do you feel about it? It's
unacceptable. You gotta know to let go. When?
Yeah, and I agree with that, because I was very much addicted to Candy Crush. I'd be playing it while I'm cooking dinner. So at a point, I had to say, you know what? I don't like that I'm this attached to this game. Mm-hmm. And I deleted it off my phone. And yes, I went through withdrawal.
Yeah.
But it's acknowledging that, okay, I'm out of balance here.
Right. And see, a lot of times these guys don't even acknowledge that there's a problem, because they don't see it as a problem. Like you said, don't see it as an escape. So they come in, they say, well, I need this time to myself. But what you're actually doing is you're shutting yourself off from the family. You're shutting yourself off from your mate. You know, so now she's feeling neglected. She's feeling like, okay, wait a minute now. Every day you come in here and you play this game, but then when I need time with you, you're too tired because you've been playing the game for the last 3-4 hours.
And I agree with who says that. You're missing out on life. You're missing out on real life. You got a family.
I think I think to some degree, every home like is going to run its way, depending on who's in it. Everybody's not going to think the same. And of course, we want to have a balance in life, but when I think about what a man could be doing, opposed to like it's no difference to me. Like you say, don't use other scenarios, but I don't think it's any different if a man is working all the time. Like if he's choosing to be at home on his computer all day, focusing on that, focusing on his career, and not spending time with the family. It could be anything. I know you talk about video games, but it's all about balance, period. I don't think there's no other really explanation to that, but just balance and who you're dealing with. Like some women, they rather had a man right there jumping in playing the video game with them, you know what I mean, and to be just as engaged. And some women are like, dude, like, what about me? But again, that's where it's already been stated from you, Christine, and the others. It's balance. Okay, now have that date night, have that time that you spend that time together. But I don't think it's a bad thing. At least he's home and not running the streets, and at least he's not on his cell phone texting other women.
And let me throw this caveat.
That said before, well, at least he's at home. That's you got to be. I need more than to see
presence.
Your
figure there.
You might as well be out in the street.
You in the way. You might as well just be one of the kids. Like you in the way. Why are you there?
But for women that feel that way, more power to them. I just still see it as counterproductive.
Well, everybody needs their time for themselves. So if he came in, and it would be different if he unwinded and he did that for 1 hour, like somebody back in the days would come read the newspaper, watch the news or ESPN or whatever.
And I can certainly understand and respect that.
You're gonna give yourself, but 3-4 hours. That's
extreme. Let me throw this caveat in there, and I've said on this platform before that from September to February, on months, Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays, don't bother me. Why? Because I'm watching. I'm jumping in there without a hazmat suit.
You talk about sports.
Don't bother me because I'm watching football.
But that's
Hold on. Let me lay it out.
Okay.
I watch every major sport: hockey, baseball, basketball, and football. At any given time, one of those sports could be on TV. If I watch a game from puck drop, tip off, opening kickoff to end, guess how much time I've spent watching the game?
6 hours.
3 hours. So somebody's gonna sit here and tell me that I can't watch something that I've been doing my entire life because it's counterproductive or they don't like it.
What I'm saying is,
nobody say anything about you can't do anything.
Right.
We're talking about extreme. We're talking about extreme. If you were watching football games every day for 3 hours, sports every day for 3 hours, and ignoring your family, that's a problem.
But that's a problem.
I will say about that. Period. But it's just how healthy do you want your
and how interested are you in the world around you that you can come in a household where your family
and ignoring your family
and you're sitting there watching ESPN every single day, highlights and all, and not engaging. It's the difference in between. Now my living room TV, when the boys are here and my boyfriend is here, that TV in that living room stays on ESPN. It stays there. They jump in and out. They be there. They be looking. They be listening. You go back in the living room. It's nobody there. Soon as I turn the TV off, now everybody, well, why you do? We was. I get it. That's fine. And then on Sundays, everybody is stuck. Everybody is glued there. They have brunch there. They have dinner there. They're there until they go back home to their mom. And that's completely fine. That's Sunday. But we're not doing this every single day. You got to pick a book, do something, go outside, play. I don't know.
I just don't know how many women Herb's going to sign up for that thing from September to February. You pretty much saying ain't nothing happening on the weekends. Ain't nothing.
I'm going to say this. I'm a football head. My ex-husband was a football, played football, college, everything, semi-pros, everything. All of my sons did. I'm a football head. So I kind of like feel her. From September to October, I didn't fool. My ex-husband will go with his friends, and Saturday and Sunday was their game day. I used to make food for them to take with them, buy some drinks for him to take over there with them. Then sometimes I would go if they invited the women. But primary, me and my girlfriends was here watching the game.
But see, that was
But
your
again,
day,
that's
and that's
only 2
how
days.
you structured your
Right.
home. That
But
like,
again,
and just like I
That's
said,
2 days.
for certain days, that's what you do. There's days
And
where
it may have
at my
been some
sister's
Mondays.
house-
It may have been some
Right.
But we're saying
Mondays.
every day, 3-4 hours of
Yeah,
playing
not-
video games is the
it's not
topic.
So
happening.
I'll say this: it's a balance for me, but it's also I'm a little more open because I still believe that everyone should have their own identity.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
That's all it is.
3 to 4 hours a
That
day
identity-
coming in playing video games would be fine with you.
What you say?
3 to 4 hours a day coming home playing video games, it would be fine for you.
It'll be fine for me if you are being productive, far as you on your grind, ain't no bills behind, you doing what you need to do. We got our time. It will be fine with
Well,
me.
when is your time? When would your time be? I'm just asking a question. When would your time be? If he's
If
coming home
somebody
from
is
work,
getting off at
and
3
he's
p.m.,
playing 3
I
to
mean
4
5
hours,
p.m.
right, and he's playing 3 to 4 hours. When he gets off of work, he's coming in playing his video
From
games
6
3 to
to
4
9
hours
p.m.
to wind down
He's-
every day.
He's playing.
When is your time?
I mean, that couldn't be an everyday span.
But that's the
That's
question.
what I'm saying.
I'm gonna
That's
tell you
what
when
we're
that time
describing.
is. That time
Every
could
day.
be when, like for me, I've always said I just want a guy for when after I finish with my day, and at nighttime when it's like maybe 9-10 o'clock at night, then me and him have our time. So anytime
tired
before
then.
I'm
9-10
sleeping.
o'clock, he can do whatever he want to do. We probably have hit each other up, text messaging or calling throughout the day. But when nighttime comes, when it's time to go to bed, then that's when I expect us to have that pillow talk, that conversation.
You're gonna be
catch
too
up with
tired.
each other
Gonna be talking to these
You've been
Z's.
playing
I
video
make
games for 4
time.
hours.
I
You ain't got
make
time to
time.
talk.
I make time for who I need to make time for.
No,
And-
I didn't say
and
you.
the
I
reason
said he.
So
He ain't gonna have
that's-
time. He gonna be too tired.
no,
That's
you're
really
not.
that's simply untrue.
His hands gonna be hurting, so he ain't gonna touch you because his hands got to rest
No,
up for the next day.
that's true, but I have never had that experience.
His hands
So,
got to rest up for the next day because his thumbs is hurting from all that.
Hey, his
moving of
fingers and
joystick.
hands
I
are
was
doing
saying.
everything. Problem is, I'm gonna be
I
sleeping.
disagree,
I'm
Nita,
tired.
because that's a part
I
of
think
their
it's
identity.
it's a
If
balance.
If somebody does something, it's a pattern of what somebody does. That's a part of their identity. That's a part of who they are. That's a
I
part
get
of what
it.
they enjoy to do.
So
Okay.
Right.
you would have
But
no
I think-
problem with
I
a
think you
person
need to
3 to 4
No,
hours a day
That's
playing
not what
video
I
games.
said. What I said.
No, I'm asking the
was
question
if
because
it's
that's
a
what the
every-
question is.
She's responding to Shanice.
If it's an everyday thing, I'm gonna have a concern about that
Okay.
every day.
That was the question.
Okay. If it's not an
What'd you
everyday thing and you're getting your span of time in to do that, then you do you, boo. Okay. But then there's also another point to this picture. Why is he so engulfed in the game, so addicted to the game? What's the purpose? Because behind every addiction, there's an insecurity.
See, for me, I'll start with myself. For me, I've always played arcade games. It started out as when I was a youth. It was a way to stay off of the streets. Some men transition with that in their lives because it keeps them out of the streets, it keeps them out of bars, and it keeps them out of other women's faces.
No, don't.
And this is the thing that a lot of hold on.
No, it
Willie, have you ever been a gamer?
I just said I used to play them for hours, 5 to 6 hours a day.
For how many years?
I didn't play for years because I woke up and realized.
And that's my point. You're not a gamer. You played games.
Okay.
Gamers
All right, no, I'm not a
play.
gamer. No.
Gamers play.
No.
I used to. Granted, I'm not married, no kids, but I would play SOCOM for 4 to 5 hours on end because it was a tight knit community of other people, which included women who played. Like I said, this is something that a lot of men transition into their adulthood with. It keeps them at home. So if there's something that happens, they are there to address it. The consensus is
That is
The-
so bull. If something happens,
you're not a gamer, Will.
He'll be busy playing
Really?
the game. He
You-
gonna
you-
happen.
Okay,
It happen right around. He'd be playing the game. He ain't paying no attention.
So now that I'm understanding the question, I addressed how I would feel. Let me just say this.
Oh, that's
I'm
taking
gonna
up
put-
too much of the screen.
Yeah,
I'ma put this-
take that one off, Dave. I can barely see
I'm gonna
another
put this.
head.
Right.
I'm gonna put this out about, and I don't even care because I know he probably watching it. It was a guy I was dating, 58 years old. All he did was he was a gamer. Game. He would text me at work when I get off of work. I'm gonna go get something to eat, and then I'm gonna be on my game. I'll be at my house if you want to stop by. At first, it didn't bother me.
That shit just don't sound right, man.
I was
Already
doing my
sounds
thing. It didn't bother me. And then after a while, because I go to a lot of events, get honored and stuff. I was like, yo, you want to go to this event with me? Yeah, I'll be ready. I'm gonna go home and play my game for a second.
If I could bring my DS with me, I'll go.
So then he would complain so much about work. Oh, work is stressing me out. So I asked the question. I did with Christine, what you just said, Christine. When it starts interfering with your life, there's a problem. I said to him, why you complain so much about what's going on at work? Something you need so you can be able to sustain in life, versus you sitting on a game and you just talking to people and talking about this is your world and your community and your friends. You ain't never seen none of these people in real life. They not your friends. Okay.
Thank you.
And he was like, what do you mean they not my friends? Oh, red light.
Yeah.
You go, bro. They are
Yeah.
not your friends, dude. They are in a screen. You don't know them. And I got friends in Europe. I said, you ever went to Europe?
No, he
Ninja?
don't. Nope.
Have you ever been to Europe?
He probably can't even spell Europe.
Them not your friends, okay? And you are caught up in this game. Guess what? I stopped talking to him. I heard through a grapevine the job he worked at, he was fired because he was on YouTube looking at game hits, how he can do game hits when he play his game. He was fired.
I believe it.
Yeah, but that's an individual who doesn't have.
Addiction is real. You can be that consumed and addicted.
Yes,
to
you
the game
can.
that you
And
feel
they
like
are.
the outside world is not real to you. It's that television world.
Yes.
He really thought these people was his friends. He was like, when I was sick, they was looking out for me. I said, how are they looking out?
How?
At one point, I remember calling him. I said, you need a psychiatric help. You need somebody. You need to be on a leather sofa. If you think that they were looking out for you, did they come visit you? Did they call you? No, that we don't got each other's phone number. Then how are these your friends?
Well, that's the problem we face right now with the younger generation.
Yeah.
With them
And
having
social
all the
media.
technology in their hands. They get computers from school that they could take home, bring to school. So a lot of times when they're supposed to be doing something, they got their phones in their lap, they're playing a game, or they got a game on the computer, and then you walk around, they minimize it and all that stuff. And they're so caught up in that not saying all, but a great deal of them, they're never going to get quality education because they're too caught up on
Distracted.
these games and stuff, whatever.
I put
So
my son right on screen time.
But let me explain to you guys what's coming down the pipe.
During school hours.
Let me explain to you guys what's coming down the pike. That's really, you think these video
Meta.
games are taken away from people's lives? This metaverse. This metaverse
Yeah,
where
it's
you can
definitely
create your own worlds. You can buy land and property and go into these worlds, this whole land and cities, and create cities, and you create characters, and you live a life in these video games.
Totally detached from the real world.
Exactly.
Totally detached.
So you can
Then
become
have no
whoever you
social
want to
skills.
be in these metaverses. And people, and we remember, if you remember growing up, we used to see shows like that, where it was cartoons or a show where the person went into another world and he was dreaming, I wish I could be this person. I wish I could do this. And all these kind of things, they are bringing that stuff to reality now. And you got people actually going into this metaverse and buying land, buying houses, buying apartment buildings, and talking about how you can buy all this land and stuff. And and all of a sudden it becomes your world.
Yep.
It becomes your world. And they're buying and selling and creating all kinds of
Willie,
stuff.
it's funny you said that because I remember one day I was
sure
like,
about
well, let me
stocking.
try to figure out what he's doing, why he's so into it. And exactly what you were saying. He was like, let me show you. he was showing me this room. He was like, see how I decked this room out?
Mhm.
I could go to this mall and buy my clothes, and I could go. And I was sitting there like, I said, are you serious? He said,
And it'll be
men.
that much worse
Grown
with
men.
the
And I told
metaverse
him,
because
I
it'll
said-
feel
he
more
was
real.
like, I bought
Right.
this, look at
Equipment
this,
will
I
make
bought
it
this,
feel
look at this house I
more
bought.
real.
And now you can use they have the bitcoins and cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, it's about
that's
to be
actually
big with
made
crypto.
for
Yeah.
those. So now you have the money, you have the, like you said, stores. You can buy land. You can actually go on there and buy land on islands and cities and all this stuff, and create your characters. And
yeah, he was real addicted.
Yeah.
And literally,
and that's where it's going now.
He used the pandemic as an excuse for him to be in the house and gaming, to the point his daughter reached out to me and was like, I'm really concerned about my father. I was like, I don't know.
Damn
Y'all
shame.
give you some psychiatrists or counselors, but I don't talk to your daddy no more.
Did y'all see that last post? What was it? About somebody
Yeah,
raging
abuse.
something? What was that rage about, Dave?
Yeah.
That's the
It's
one
like
that Christine put up.
Yeah, I'm
It
about to go
creates a
back to
fight
it.
or
Christine.
flight,
It wasn't
some
me.
type of fight or flight experience in kids' brains. They start to lash out. They can't deal with reality. They start throwing tantrums. They get upset. There were plenty articles. I'm trying to think. Fortnite. Initially, Fortnite became a big issue. For a lot of children. I cannot remember the exact
excuse me.
my son's grades had started dropping. I want to say it was maybe second or third grade. His grades started dropping. And his teacher was like, yeah, he's always talking about Fortnite. And I'm like, yeah, he plays, but he plays on my phone. So he's not playing that much. And she's like, well, I want you to read an article for me and and tell me what you think. And as soon as I read it, I was like, oh no, Fortnite's done, delete it. You can't play it anymore. And it completely changed. And I mean, now that he's older, we kind of got the hang of things. I still let him play. And he doesn't even have a desire to play it as much. Like if he comes and asks me for V-Bucks, I'm like, for real? Or it's for fake.
But see,
he doesn't want to play it as much, but again, it's that balance.
Right.
well, the balance is. Let me preface any comments by saying this. Balance is always number one, and a healthy gamer has that balance. This is why I don't talk about the opposite ends of the spectrum, because they exist. They're there. I'm not even going to say anything.
So what's a healthy gamer? I need you to give me
otherwise.
a definition.
And this is what I was trying to say. If a man comes home, or a woman for that matter, comes home is in order, the finances are met.
Home in order because she there. Go ahead.
Home is in order, finances are met, and they spent the quality of time alone that they need to. Then the time left an individual has, they should be able to do what they want to, whether that's going to play cards, going bowling, going out to socialize with other people. That's their time. So for anyone to try and regiment that time and saying that they should be doing this particular activity because they like it, you're putting a restriction on what. It doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't matter. You're putting a restriction.
I'm going bowling every night. I'm going bowling every night.
Hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Games every night.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
That's crazy.
You're putting a restriction on what someone can do in their leisure time.
Everybody do what they want to do for their own home, and
that's when you're single. That's when you're single and don't have a family that you're more concerned about making sure you get that 2-3 hours a night to go.
Some people that don't mind that. Again, there's some people, there's some women, there's some men that do not mind having that type of lifestyle, and that's fine. So that's where you can't speak for everybody else's life. You got to only
doing it right now.
So basically, as you're saying, Herb, I agree with you. If everybody's doing what they need to do, and the woman and the man is okay with whatever space that they ever take to have for themselves, that's how it works.
Because in all honesty, if you look at a lot of relationships, they tend to become stagnant because the routine becomes just that. So let's say
every night would be a routine.
hold on. Gaming every night at the same time is a routine. And the reason why I say that is because I work midnight. So let's take a man that works midnights. He comes home. The wife or the girlfriend or the living mate has a kid set. They're off to school. She goes to work. He games from, let's say, from 9 to noon. He goes to sleep for a few hours. Hold on. No, because that's what I do. And I'm only speaking in midnights because that's been my life for the last 20-something years.
But you also single.
Hold on. He games from 7 from let's say he goes to sleep for a couple hours. He gets up at 10. He games from 10 to 1 or noon. He gets everything ready. So when the kids come home, they're set to do their homework. The wife comes home, he spends some quality time with her. Kids are set. Wife set. He goes to work. Everything is set. He goes to sleep around 5 or 6, gets up and goes to work. Where's the issue?
But a real gamer, Herb, a real person, for you to call yourself gamer, it's time. It's time spent.
Correct. 2 or 3 hours a day is what gamers do. I think a lot of people are taking a gamer and saying that's the gamer's life, which isn't the case. Gamers are gamers because they play consistently. I no longer consider myself a part of the gaming community because I stopped buying the PlayStations when they came out with 2. I didn't buy a 3, 4, and I don't own the 5. That's because the systems really aren't conducive for me to spend that type of money. I've moved on to other things, but don't think I can't sit down and actually start to pick up something and say, this is what I like to do, because it's something that occupies my time. Any individual's time is their time, so long as their basic requirements are met. A lot of people are saying it takes you away from the world. In what capacity? Because anytime I want to put those sticks down, and this is why I said healthy, anytime I want to put those sticks down, get dressed and go out and be sociable, I can do that. A lot of people are thinking gamers are unemotionally unattached people to the world.
Well, I have 2 gamers. I have an older son that's gamer, and I have a young son that's a gamer. And I gave both of them some, boundaries of when they can play. But one thing I can say is neither one of them I have ever experienced bad grades. And actually, I encourage the younger one about gaming because you can make money. Real good money being a gamer. Everything is not, some people use that is using that as a career. And if that's what he chooses to do to make it as a career for himself, I support him. So
is he playing 3 or 4 hours a day right now?
Yeah, he does sometimes.
He does every day?
He does. Yeah, he does.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm saying this, my only concern,
sometimes I have to yell.
I'm not saying it's your son. My only concern from my behavioral and mental health background, anyone that's consumed with technology 2 to 3 hours a day is at some point there's going to be an imbalance with social skills.
Well, no, okay, so that's what. Let me do again.
Hold on. Let her finish, Lakia.
I'm saying this is factual. It's book factual. It's patient factual. We have patients that we counsel and do therapy for that have gaming issues, sex porn issues, relationship issues, social media issues. So anytime you're expending an extended amount of time in something, you're gonna lack in another area. Okay.
Exactly.
But
that area is primary. What I've seen it happen is socially. People are socially awkward.
The gamers are usually socially awkward.
I can't say that.
That's not true. Hold on. Compared to whom?
All my friends, I have not, and I have a gamer.
Hold on.
That's not my experience with gamers.
I forced to you know what you're gonna do? You're gonna pay 2 bills in the house. Because I knew in my mind, if I make him have to pay something, he has to grind, then
he has a job. Mine have jobs and everything. And
it eliminated his gaming.
Was a gamer. I would have to yell
at him.
He worked, and now when the only time he played a game is on the weekend. Because he just and guess what? I'm transparent and honest. My son is socially awkward. My son,
hold on, Anetta.
like being around big crowds.
I think half of this generation is socially.
Thank you, David.
Exactly.
I was going to ask
just like what
gaming. That's just like somebody being addicted to television. If you are addicted to television, anything like that, you are going to be socially awkward because you're not having social communication and balancing skills with other human beings.
With real people.
So you can learn how
that's not going to solve anyone being. Go ahead, Christine.
That's escalating, like Willie said. With the more advanced the technology becomes, the metaverse, you are getting ready to see people that have no social skills
whatsoever.
They ain't gonna be able to
whatsoever.
I just gotta say this.
Christine Heath, don't you leave us.
I think it goes back
Christine
to
Heath,
how
she can't leave us.
Can I please, without interruption, I appreciate it.
Go ahead, talk.
So as I'm trying to say, if it all depends, even when it comes to a child's discipline, their respect level, their social abilities, it all depends on how things are run in the home.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that just goes across the board, in my opinion. So, in my opinion, I would say that my son, I have not experienced. My son has been a gamer. He's 30. He's about to be 30 now. He's about to get married. Yeah, I've heard me say Air Force 7, and he's still a gamer. That boy will be on that game for hours. Mama, I'm sorry, I call you back. No problem. And I respected his space when I allowed him to have that space. But one thing I could say, very successful by the grace of God in life. My younger son, same with him, played basketball, 90s in class, had a job this past summer. He's hilarious because he makes me laugh all the time. And he doesn't have a social issues. He's a likable person. So yes, I
understand. Look at how much he's interacting with people. So that's not an issue. And we're talking about when it's out of balance, not your child, either one of your sons. We're talking about when it's out of balance.
No, I'm talking about what she's saying about having social disorders and disabilities.
Right.
I'm addressing that. And what I said earlier, I do agree when there's a balance. And that's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's been on there for 2-3 hours. But one thing I can say, he does what he's supposed to do when it comes to schooling and him going to work and being sociable. So from my experience, that's not my experience.
You're talking about your 30-year-old son?
My 30 and my 15-year-old. I have two that's gamers.
And see, that's what I'm trying to address is the mislabeling of somebody who's a gamer. We try and take the extremes and try and apply it to the general. That's no different than saying that somebody who goes out and they smoke weed or they drink, they can't function in normal society. We've seen that for decades. That people who are chronic weed smokers, they go out, they hold down jobs. People who are functioning alcoholics, they go down, hold down jobs. Most people don't know about the behaviors until they actually hang around them. And some people will say, well, it affects the family. We've seen normal functioning people come from dysfunctional homes. So where is the barometer being placed when somebody doesn't know them and they're just trying to take a label and attach it to them because they don't like the behavior? Because this is what we're talking about. This is why the question was asked, when do you feel it's enough? Because if an individual has
that was the question. When do you feel it's enough? So what we've identified is when the sense of balance is lost and the person, man or woman, is not interacting with the family. So we're not just attacking. This is not about attacking gamers.
I said attaching, no. Not attacking, attaching.
I'm not trying to reiterate what you said. I said the topic is not about attacking gamers. I get this big sense of defense about gamers. This is not. I'm not saying. I don't think anyone here is saying gaming is evil. Gaming is bad. We're saying when the question was when is it too much, and we kind of like I guess try to describe a threshold of what is too much.
I think the main thing is like with any addiction, when your life becomes unmanageable. When anything becomes unmanageable, that's when it's too much, and that deals with the balance. If something becomes unmanageable, certain parts are missing because you should have been doing this during this time, but you were on the game, then that's the problem. If everything is managed and everything is working, like a well-oiled machine, then hey, who's going to complain? But I think once it becomes unmanageable, that's the issue.
No, and I agree but that's why I preface this by saying a healthy gamer, because like I said, because the notion is that there isn't, that a person who games is socially awkward or whatever the case is, and I'm just like, it doesn't exist on the plane that people think it does. We take the marginalized populations on the fringes, be it the left or right, and we try and apply it to everybody, and it just doesn't fit.
Now, I'm going to say this. Just because your ass play video games 4 or 5 hours don't mean you're a gamer. Don't mean you're a gamer. Right. So we need to clarify
people that are extreme.
We need to clarify that. Some of that shit is just you avoiding other responsibilities and you hide behind that. So let's not get that twisted like, oh, he's a gamer, because some people in the damn game and they could be doing something else productive.
But that's the question I'm asking. Who's to label what an individual does that isn't productive versus, label as unproductive versus productive? Because we have this thought process, a collective thought process, that if a human isn't evolving, doing everything he or she needs to move up in society, that they're not progressing. Everybody doesn't move at the same rate. Everybody doesn't read as much as the next person or improve themselves. That doesn't necessarily make them less of an individual that's striving. They may be content where they are. And I always tell people, you have to let a person move at their own pace. To consistently try and force a square peg into a round hole, you're going to meet with resentment. And if that's the type of relationship that you want to foster with somebody, by all means, go ahead and do it. Just understand the backlash that's going to come with that. And the backlash is not going to be because of what they do. It's going to be because of what they're being forced to try and do. And far too often, whether it's with an alcoholic who may need to go to AA, or somebody who's in the drugs that may need to go to NA, that individual has to come to that conclusion on their own.
Well, that doesn't mean that we should sit around and be enablers.
Well, but you can't stop someone from doing something.
You can't, but you can stop them from impacting your life.
Well, no, you can leave them. Absolutely, you have the choice to leave them if the situation becomes unbearable, and that's what Anetta was saying. And I understand that, but that's what I'm saying. If an individual is doing something 3 or 4 hours a day in their life, and that's what they do, and that's what they've always done, and it's not impacting anybody negatively, leave them alone.
So that's the thing I try to say. Like, just because you play it, example, like when kids be on games, whatever, and you look at their grades and you say, hey, you're missing assignments, whatever. You really don't have no place to be on no damn game unless all your stuff is caught up. For an adult, if you're behind on bills or whatever the case is, and you've been spending that, oh, I just need this time to unwind. Your ass could have been doing something else. You could have picked up an extra hour or two at work. So I think that becomes about the management piece, whatever. So
same way with education. If your child playing 3-4 hours a night on video games and he getting 90s in his classroom, I'm saying, well, if your ass wasn't on that video game, you'd probably be getting 95. So get off the video.
Well, I'm not gonna trip over somebody getting a 90 something if they still getting that. If they still getting A's, but it's the D's and C's that you could be like, you could be doing better.
Great job.
90s, 95, 65, 75.
Because you know, Willie, I'm gonna jump on that for a moment. That's the equivalent to somebody being so well educated that when you put them in a social setting, they can't function. Why? Because they spend all their time doing this. But we don't castigate them. We say that's good because you're excelling in academics. So are we gonna say somebody that's a bookworm needs to put down a book?
Right.
Yes, and talk to people. Yes.
That's
absolutely.
Is the whole of society going to say that?
No.
The whole of society.
Thank you.
The whole of society ain't saying none of this.
Look at you. You're totally like defending it.
No, I'm simply expanding the conversation.
until it fits your scenario, you're gonna expand.
No,
Go ahead,
no,
keep expanding.
because a lot of people have this myopic view of something, and
You gonna
because they
fall
have
off
the
the
myopic
screen.
view of something, they
Gonna fall off the
can't
screen, you keep
expand their
expanding
thought
so far.
process.
It's just
They
you
can't
just
expand their thought
I think
process.
bottom line is as everyone has been saying, it's about balance. And whatever
Yes, always.
balance is for one person is not always balance for somebody else.
Correct.
And whatever works for someone don't always work for somebody else.
Correct.
There's some extremes that go far right and some go far left, but the fact
Correct.
is try to have what balance is for that particular person. And if it don't work for you, it don't work for you. You know what I mean? Like I was dating somebody that was a workaholic and a sportsaholic. That didn't work for me. So to be honest, that did not work for me. There has to be some time. If you don't have time put in, then that's where it comes to issue. But that's what it's about, balance.
So I know I came in late. I know my technology was all jacked up. Well, we about to move to the second segment. We about to move to the second segment. Is it fair to ask a woman to cook and clean and you cannot provide or afford her the extra time to do these things? So it's basically saying men got a lot of expectations for women. Again, that word, but they not putting out, they not relieving women of this time to do all the things that they expect. So hey, let's attack this subject. Well, let me start off with the first one. Is a woman's job to do the cooking and cleaning in a relationship, even if she works outside of the home?
No.
Yes.
Go ahead. I'll see the floor to the youngest.
I do believe so. I definitely agree in things of that nature, because one thing's for sure, two things for certain. I'm not taking out no damn trash, and I'm not repairing no cars. I'm not taking nobody's car to go get an oil change. That's what you're going to do. And that's my opinion. That's just me, and that's my feeling. But I also feel that if there also has to be partnership. There has to be some sort of partnership. If you go out of town for the weekend and there's trash in the house, I'm not gonna leave the trash piling over and spilling over so you can come home on Sunday evening or Monday morning to the trash piling over. I'm not gonna say, oh, dag, my oil light came out on, or it says time for an oil change, and you working for the next 3 days, and I'm gonna say, well, what happens. It's in God's hands. I'm not gonna do that, but it is understand that we both do primarily certain things within the household, but we still help each other out. But you can't expect someone to cook and clean and take care of the children all by themselves. You come home and just sit on your butt, but I still have
play
to
video games. And play video games.
Right, play video games. I still have to go to work, and you want all these things done too. No, it doesn't work that way.
I'm going to say no because it mentioned job. No, you have a job outside the house. You have a role at home. Those roles should be agreed upon, because as most homes are constructed now, women aren't doing the primary bulk of the cooking. Those roles are shared. I know men that come home and cook. I as a younger kid in foster care, I've known men to cook because the woman, the mother or the wife or whatever the case is, may have been out doing something. I know most of the men now cook nowadays. So that, if you want to label this job, that job no longer a gender-held job. I've known women to be able to do mechanical things that most men assumed that they couldn't do, only because they never allowed it.
Shout out to Christine.
Right. And I can agree with that, but that's why I said there has to be a balance. If we have 3 kids under 5 and we all got in the house at the same time from daycare and work and school, and I start dinner, what the kids going to be doing while, like, are you going to entertain them? Are you going to start baths? Are you going to get them settled? What are you doing at this time? Because if
video
you can't
games.
That, you need to afford me to stay home,
right?
So I can get a head start on all of this stuff. So by the time you get here, it's all done.
Or Shauna, you kind of said something there that to me is part of that. So okay, if I'm working, if I work, we both work. We both work outside the home, come home. That the whole thing about can you afford
Right.
for me to, it's not necessarily about me being able to stay home, but like you said,
mentally,
you said, okay, so I'm gonna get the cooking done and I'm gonna clean up, and you're going to, make sure the kids have their homework and
right,
give them their bath so that they're, all that stuff is done. That is affording me the time
exactly,
and the ability
exactly
to cook and get the cleaning done. It's a partnership. It's let's work together.
That's what it's supposed
because
to be.
these things have to be done.
Right.
There's something each of us could do. There's something you could do if you want me to cook and clean. There's something you can do to ease the load and allow me the ability to do that. It doesn't necessarily have to be, I make enough money, you could stay home, and
right, exactly,
spend your life cooking and cleaning.
It might be the simple case.
Never that much money.
Afford me the time to.
It might be the simple case of if you got a son, they got to go to basketball practice or the game. You may not be able to make the game, but the father say, "Okay, I got this. I'm gonna go to this." That's a couple hours. That's a couple hours that you could be freed up. That I'm gonna go to the gym with them. They both got practice in the same spot. I got this. So that's 2 hours that you can get done what you need to do. But you can't come in and say, "Shit, I'm tired as hell. You're gonna have to go do that." And by the way, what we gonna eat for dinner?
Right.
You can't do that.
But you have some people like that though too.
You do.
Yeah, you do.
You have something like that.
Well, the thing about that, and I think that's why the question was tied into if he can't. If a man is in a position, and to use the term that Kevin Samuels has used quite often on his platform, can a man set that woman down so she can become a wife, meaning that she doesn't have to work outside the home?
Just because I work outside the home doesn't mean
Hold on. Can he?
No, it doesn't.
Hold on.
Hold on, Shaughnessy. Herb is talking.
Hold on. Can he?
Shaughnessy ain't trying to hear that.
Can he afford to set her down? I'm not saying will she.
First of all,
the option exists.
Anana, let her finish.
The option exists for her to go to work. But that's why he asked a question: can he afford to?
I would love the opportunity to stay home from work, because I've been working since I was 11 years old.
And that's what the vast majority of women that call into a show say. That's what the vast majority of women.
I still have a side job, though.
I'll go to work every day. I will. Hell no. I'm not staying home. No.
I was a stay-at-home mom for 10 years.
And your job was harder than mine.
For me, being a stay-at-home mom for 10 years, I thought it was the most demeaning thing when I first started doing it. I'm being honest and transparent. My grown sons are here, like, demeaning. It was a very demeaning thing because all I kept thinking about is I'm aggressive, my education, what I can do, all this. And I felt like it was going to waste. You know what I'm saying? My abilities to do what I needed to do. But later, as I stayed home and I got them in school and they start being around other children, and I found out their educational level, where they were at and how far they were, it no longer became demeaning. It became rewarding to me that I did it.
I want people. Sorry, Anetta. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
At that point, I start advocating to other mothers how rewarding it was, but it has to be something you want to do.
Right. It really does.
You can't be begrudgingly doing it, because that played a part in some of the demise of my relationship, my marriage, because I was like, yo, I'm a go-getter, and I felt like he was holding me down. because once I came out the household, I never missed a beat. I excelled. Every job I got, I was promoted. So I did not like staying at home, but I found it to be rewarding. It's something they did back in the days when the mom stayed at home and this and that. However, my belief now, it takes 2 incomes for a house to function properly. Okay. So when I did go back to work and me and him was home, I would beat him home first. So of course I have to cook. The kids got to eat. I'm going to have a hot food. I also have a part of that old mentality from my grandmother and my grandfather. Make sure your house clean, your dinner is out, your kids eating, they in the bath by 7, they in the bed by 8. That was just the model that I stuck with. You know what I'm saying? And it became a functional, good model for me for the balance of my household. So everyone's household is different and how they maneuver and do it. I don't really believe in 50-50 in a relationship, because some people gonna give 80 and another person gonna give 20. Some people gonna give 50 and the other person gonna give 20. And then you got the other 30 just hanging around in the field. So I just think that it depends on how the structure of the household is and what it's agreed upon. But again, everybody know if a woman hit the house first and she got kids, she gonna start cooking because her baby's got it. That's a given regardless. But now in these 2022, most women want to work outside the home because they are driven now to do other things, and they want to be entrepreneurs, and they want to make things happen. They want to set up legacies for their family just like the man does. So I get it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't even I just being transparent. I love my children to death. I spend time with my children. We play, we watch movies. And they're 11 and 6 years old now. I am not doing it all day long. Homeschool. I shipped my kids right to their grandmother in Maryland. They got to go all day long. Oh, heck no. No, absolutely.
You know,
But I don't push my children on people. They don't spend weekends away like that unless they're actually with their father. I'm not that person. My kids are always with me. But a stay-at-home mom?
I didn't never have that opportunity unless I was home for the weeks I was pregnant after having a baby. But one thing I can say is, for me, I always had to do it all. And my ex-husband cooked. He did cook sometimes. But for the most part, I cooked, I had to clean, I had to do the homework. I had to do it all. And then I became a single mother again, and I was still doing it all. So, you know, everybody's household is different, but can you do it? You do. You do what you got to do.
Yes,
to make
absolutely. You can.
You know what I mean? But I understand that it is sometimes, but I had to do it all. And now I'm a little spoiled. If they grades dropped, I wouldn't even know, because I don't, like, for a minute I wasn't looking, but then now I had to start back looking again, because just like I got out of tune, that they were so in tune with doing their homework that okay, I didn't have to think about that no more. But I had to do it all. Drop them off.
I had the opportunity for a while to be a stay-at-home mom, and I absolutely loved it. It wasn't 10 years. It might have been maybe 3 or whatever. But I had worked outside of the home. This is with this. Well, there was a period with my my ex-husband, my older kid's father, that I was a stay-at-home mom, and there were periods in our marriage that I was a stay-at-home mom. Like, okay, it's time for potty training kids. I don't believe in somebody else potty training my kids.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm at home. I'm not working. I'm at home. I'm teaching them that. I'm going through that, and then once I'm comfortable, then I go out and work again. So that was kind of the situation there. And then with my second 3 kids' father, he grew up in a home where his mother was a stay-at-home mom. So he actually loved it when I stayed at home. So there was a longer, more solid stretch in there with us where I stayed at home and did it all. But then also, even when I was a stay-at-home mom, he always helped with the cleaning.
Mhm.
He always helped with the cleaning. When I was working, I primarily did all the cooking, but just because he was thoughtful in this manner, like I'd come home pulling out pots and pans, ready to start cooking, and he might walk in the house with food, or he'd stop me and be like, no, let's get something out, take a break. So it's still about balance.
Mhm.
And like the rest of you ladies said, I definitely was and am that person that it's just a part of me. That's I take on those roles. I like those roles. That's one of the ways I show love, as a matter of fact. As long as you're not treating me like that's your job.
Right.
No, that's true. That's true. Because I remember, and then to be honest, like what Anetta had said, there was a time where I felt like just being a mom, that's all I'm supposed to be. Is this a mom? Is there something else I should be doing? Mm-hmm. And then I was like, well, no, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm a mother and I got to be that. I had a moment where I was just like, shouldn't I be doing something else in my life right now? But at that point, it wasn't. It was about taking care of them kids and helping and raising them. Mm-hmm. And doing what I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, because I wanted them to have my values and morals and stuff, not somebody else's.
See, I think I might be spoiled in a sense of with my son. Until he turned 5, he went to his great aunt. So he never went to daycare. He went to his great aunt, and from the time that he started, old enough to learn or whatever, he had manipulative there. She would give him homework, et cetera, et cetera. So I never really had the feeling of, somebody else raising. It was my aunt that was doing it. And then with my daughter, I worked night shift. Their dad worked day shift. So he was getting them dressed up for the morning. I was taking them to school, picking them up from school. I was doing homework. I was making dinner. And then at night, he's there. So it kind of was that balance. I commend you all. I personally think, and this is working ER rooms, this is being a bar manager, working in food and beverage. Being a stay-at-home mom is harder. It's harder. It is harder.
Because you don't have a lunch break.
A lunch break, a think break, use the bathroom break, a shower break. Let me think break.
The monsters is following you everywhere.
They take naps, you still up.
Yes.
Just like Daphne just said, it's rewarding because we get to teach our children.
Right.
We get to teach them morals. We get to teach them, the ethics that we want them to learn. We get to teach all that stuff to them, instill stuff into them. So when they get into school, they're not just adapting just to be adapting.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I think I was really spoiled in that way of having that family.
And I can identify with some of what you're saying, Shaughnessy, because even with having 6 kids, it was always trusted family that watched my children.
Right.
And that's how it is today, even with my grandchildren.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's just, we are very protective in that manner over the children in our family.
Absolutely.
And then also, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Even like what Daphne is saying here about we have to educate our children. I say that all the time, that we have to take control of our children's education, not just from the standpoint of what they, their social skills that they learn in home and their morals that they learn in home, but even beyond that, their academic education. If you're not able to homeschool, you have to be making sure you're supplementing your children's public education with what you're teaching them at home, because that's why our kids get left behind.
See, and I can do that. I don't know why. I can do the come home from school and you've done your homework at after school, I can check homework and we can learn some other things. Like that's me and my son's favorite thing to do. We watch documentaries. We Google, we look stuff up. My daughter, she asked to do her workbook. She wants to do her workbook. And sometimes I'm even like, it is Saturday afternoon. I'm trying to drink my wine and fold this laundry. I do not feel like learning no clocks right now. Like, that's not what we're doing right now. No, my daughter, she is
like
all
that.
This is what happens when you don't allow them to game.
No, you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right.
Now that I'm divorced, we do every other week. Me and my ex-husband, we do every other week. And I've been looking forward to that break for that week, to be honest. Now
I never had a break. I don't know what that is.
I know, right? But it's a wonderful feeling. I mean, at first I was like, I miss my kids. Everybody was like, girl, you better take advantage of this break. So it took me a minute. But now
it's heaven.
Now I'm like, go on to your daddy's house for a couple of days. Give me at least 2 days.
Girl, my break was I'm getting ready to go in this room for an hour. Don't nobody knock on my door. That was a break.
Now, like,
you can't get a break in the bathroom, huh? Because they knocking on that damn door.
That wasn't when my oldest son was old enough. He would literally like guard my door. So if he saw any of his younger siblings headed down that hallway toward my room, because I could hear him, he would rush and be like, "Where are you going?"
My daughter used to stand at the bathroom. She used to stand at the bathroom door. So then we would be out in public and they would be like, you need some, you look tired. You need a break. My daughter would be like, yeah, and I think her stomach is upset. She always in the bathroom.
Okay. I'm hiding from you.
All right. I think we should move on.
Yeah.
Sure.
We're gonna move on to 3. Now we're gonna start talking about a little accountability piece. Recall an event, incident, or situation in your life that didn't turn out well, that you knew you were responsible for. Let's hear your accountability. What could you have done to have better outcome? Recall an event, an incident, or situation in your life that didn't turn out well, that you knew you were responsible for. So let's hear your accountability. What could you have done to have a better outcome? Let's self-reflect on this.
I have
I got one. Go ahead.
It sounds like, oh.
Wow. I would listen to the adults. I would definitely listen to exactly what they said, word for word. You do not need to learn lessons on your own. Just listen. I tell my son that all the time. Like, look, I promise you, it's not even worth it.
Hold up, Shauna. See, I had to cut you up. Hold up.
What's the event?
You know I'm going with this, right?
No, I don't. Not yet.
You were young. You were in high school, so I'm trying to think about all the conversation. Huh?
I said when I was a menace.
Oh,
see,
yeah,
it wasn't. See, the reason I don't think that it didn't work for us because all of us were still spoiled, and in a sense where we got good grades, so a lot of people let us slip on stuff that we should not have been able to slip on. Like
probably me too.
We had 50. I'm talking about 50 girl brawls in parking lots and suspended to the board, and you get there and it's like, this is the top 10% of our class. Y'all know that, right? And we like, yup. And they like, oh, well, go back to class. And we like, haha, told y'all.
Yeah, I don't understand. They were smart. They was badasses, whatever. And I had to deal with this shit every day for like 4 years.
And we made life so much harder. Like stuff we could have been doing, like dual enrollment. We could have been at CCBC taking classes because we were all smart. We could have been doing all of this stuff young. And
this was high school?
Yeah.
That's
We
cool.
were meant. And then we
Yeah,
all
I don't
had
wanna get off-
cars, nice cars.
I don't want to get off topic, but why I went to this school in the European area, and they had rifle classes
Yeah.
for these kids.
Rifles.
Rifle
Yeah.
classes. And I'm like, we ain't got that at our local high school. Why are they teaching our kids rifle?
Archery. Is that the same as
Not
archery?
archery.
No,
No.
rifles is guns.
Shotgun.
Okay.
Yeah, Lakia, you
Oh.
definitely off course with that one.
I'm sorry, I just had to say that.
No, I understand what Lakia's saying. What Lakia's saying is what a lot of Caucasian families do that other families don't.
Why ain't we teaching our kids and stuff for that stuff?
Well, and I'm gonna address what Shaughnessy just said. When I was a youth at the 13th Street Center, which is no longer open, we actually took up archery. You know, so we had bow and arrows, we had targets set up there, and we'd actually learn how to shoot. So I actually know how to shoot a bow and arrow. Now, am I great? No. But these are the type of things that Lakia and Shanice are talking about that isn't taught at home. We are shunned as a culture. We are shunned from owning weapons because of the history in this country we have with them. You can go back to the Black Panthers. You can go back to the Deacons of Defense. Anytime that we've armed ourselves, it's always been looked at as criminal. This is why you have such a backlash now with Black people owning weapons. If you look at what the NRA is saying now, they're saying some of the biggest swell in membership is from Black people because they're starting to say, hey, wait a minute, if everybody else is owning arms and we're not, that puts us at a disadvantage. Not because the bulk of us are criminals, because we're not. Less than 2% of our populace is of the criminal element. But we need to be armed just for the simple fact that if something happens to where somebody breaks in your home and you call the police, you can end up deceased or harmed long before the police get there. There's been documented cases of where people who have been armed with an intruder breaking in, and they were able to fend off that intruder to the point where they may have killed that intruder or injured that intruder to where that intruder shows up at the hospital. And later they find out who it is, and that person is arrested.
Okay, but we need to get back to the.
No.
It's particular situations that you felt like you should have had accountability. So I'm gonna let somebody else go. I could give a quick situation when I was working on my master's. I was like 32 years old, and I already had work experience, but it was a time that I worked full time. I was going to school part time, and I was doing my intern. And obviously, to me, I got to make sure I get what my requirements done for my class. So I was working with this supervisor. It was obvious that her agenda was to try to hook up. But I never said that to my professor who was in charge of my intern until the end. And she wasn't pissed, but it was kind of more of a joking situation because when she first came out to visit the site, the supervisor was like, oh, David this, David that. And she was like, and my supervisor, she was younger than me and she was kind of down to earth. She was like, man, you're like the greatest thing since sliced bread to her. She said, but I expect that you would get a counseling job at a school before most of them because I was a little older. So anyways, it was a time I called it off because I had to write a paper and she was pissed. She was, as y'all say, big mad that I didn't come that day. I guess she was looking forward to me coming. And when I came, this chick made me sit there. She was in the office with a kid. I literally sat there for like an hour and a half before she even acknowledged me. So I was sitting there thinking all types of stuff was going through my mind. I'm like, I'm about to get up here and leave this shit because I got other stuff to do. I could be at my job. Because I had to balance out that time. And then when she finally came out, she called herself roasting me. Well, when you get out into the professional world, hold up, G, hold up. I'm in a professional world. I understand how this game go. So then the next thing you know, it got to be toward the end of the semester, and all of a sudden my schedule didn't work. Now, granted, I'll take the accountability that I probably should have did my paper sooner. And it was, like I said, working full time and then trying to do this. But this chick totally reversed everything on me, wrote a bad recommendation. Then when I went to turn it in to the college professor, she read it and she was like, "Are you serious with this?" She was like, "This is bullshit." She ripped it up and said, "This woman, David, I swear she thought you were the greatest thing." And she said, then all of a sudden this happened. She said she would no longer be on our list. Which school is this? She crossed it out. Then I had told her another little piece of it, that the woman wanted me to come over her house for Thanksgiving to work on like the magnet application process.
You can thank her.
I was like, I spent time with my family during Thanksgiving, football, drinks, eating, and then, she was a little disappointed. So when I told my supervisor, she said, "You kidding me, David?" She's like, "You were about to be her Thanksgiving dinner. Why didn't you bring up this shit in supervision class? This would have been the best one. I can't believe you held on to this information." And so that was my twist to this scenario. Like, if I didn't have a cool supervisor and I had to deal with that recommendation from that internship, who knows?
You'd have been
I may never been a school counselor, whatever the case is. I may not even have passed that class. So it was just crazy with that situation. But yeah, she wanted me to be her Thanksgiving dinner.
Yes, she did.
She just wanted to know what the secret.
Dessert.
No, she wanted to know how he stuffs his chicken.
What?
She wanted some, and like my supervisor said.
I thought it said chicken. I meant turkey.
Like my intern professor said. She said, "You realize she was going to answer to do it in a negligee or something, right? You do realize that, right?"
She wanted to know how you stuff that turkey.
Dinner is served. Dinner is served.
So that was my thing. Yeah, go ahead.
Dave, do you like dark meat?
Well, I'll share. I was going to share. I had this sad incident where I had a hairdresser talk at the hairdressers. And you know how you just try to have conversation, trying to be nosy about things. And somebody was talking about the guy that's doing my hair, and he was talking about men and this and that about men. And then I chimed in and started being nosy about certain people. And it caused a big rift because, unfortunately, the person I was talking about in that hair salon was a cousin to the person I was talking about, and that was a really bad deal.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Why did you tell me that was a family member?" But it's all right. It worked out. It worked out at the time. But I would say that I've learned not to trust hairdressers, and I learned to keep my
Herb tickled by that.
Yeah, because the irony is you're trusting someone to actually make you look better, but you don't trust them.
I don't even touch my hair no more either. I'm just being honest. He can't even touch my hair no more either.
Oh, okay. Now that makes sense.
He took it out of her hair.
I have a man. There's probably about 3 or 4 things I could think of just literally off the top of my head. Accountability. And I've mentioned this before, with my selection women that I've dealt with, prior to being 30, the false pregnancy claims and things of that nature. I had to sit back and ask myself, why was I choosing the type of women that I was choosing? And I've mentioned, the 6-year sabbatical I had from dating and involved in any type of intimacy. So it was, for me, it was a life-changing thing. And I had to, like I said, I had to sit back and assess why I was choosing the women that I was. And it wasn't really until I actually did some soul searching and some deep question asking that I actually was able to come to a conclusion of why I was selecting the women I was. And once I addressed that, I came out on the other side, a much more astute judge of character and what I wanted in terms of dealing with women. So for me, it was beneficial, but that had to start with me. I couldn't point the finger at anyone else. I couldn't say, well, she tempted me with this. She was easy this, because the decision started with me. And I think, a lot of people need to ask those particular questions when they find themselves in repetitive situations that they always seem to say, well, it was this, it was this, it was this. Well, why? So, that's just one of the few things that I've learned in my, 50 years of being on this planet.
All right. Anybody else want to share something?
I have one. So, with my last child, and she's 22 now, but I ended the relationship with her father while I was pregnant with her.
Mm.
And I really, this is my 6th child. So, just go through life raising the kids. I've always raised the kids. They had everything they need. They had plenty of love. They had the support of family members, yada, yada, yada. Fast forward to 14, when she was 14. And so now I have the older 3 kids that are adult children. And everybody, all 6 kids and a few grandkids by this time were at the house. And just our usual family banter or whatever. But she said something smart, nothing disrespectful, but she said something smarter. And my reply was to think I wanted one more. And out of nowhere, this child busted out crying. And I'm like, what's wrong? She's crying. And she said, you wanted me? I'm like, what the hell? What you mean? Of course I wanted you. What would make you even? So, I mean, I don't even know at what age she got it in her mind, but she was like, because the timeline didn't make sense to her. She couldn't make sense of the timeline of her birth versus me and her father's breakup. And at this point in her life, she had never even seen her father.
Ooh.
But so she had reasoned with herself, and like I said, I don't know at what point this took place in her mind, that she was an unexpected pregnancy, and that he didn't want her at all, and that I was. And it all came out just by accident in that conversation. So when I speak of accountability, that for me made me realize that was something I took for granted, that providing for them and loving for them was enough. Yeah. It didn't even dawn on me. Like, all the rest of the kids were present to see a relationship between me and their fathers. This child wasn't. So, and it never even dawned on me that I should have explained to her anything about, the what had transpired between me and her father, and, her existence. It just never even dawned on me. So for me, that's I take full accountability for the fact that this child was walking around with all this pain for, I don't know how, from whatever point that's what she in her young mind reasoned was her why she existed, So now I'm paying with the rest of my life, because every time She asked for something, and I'm like on the fence. She's like, "Remember, you wanted me."
Oh no.
Girl, they do that. They do that. There's always one that's gonna try to throw something at you.
That's the one.
I have one like that.
I call that the police, and for those of you who don't understand anything or don't know who the police is, there's a song they made called "Wrapped Around Your Finger."
I'm not familiar with it. I'm familiar with the police, but I'm not familiar with that. But she and that's the whole thing. That was why another reason that blew my mind with it. Anyway, this is the youngest. You just can't even imagine how spoiled she was / is. Not just by me, by everybody in the family. Everybody. And to think that she thought that she was not wanted.
Well, that's my middle child.
She milking it now.
That's my youngest. Middle child. The middle one
and
is
she
like
works
that.
with me.
Oh, she grilling now.
I said
She
my
would literally come in my office and be like, I just feel like I'm not getting enough attention. I just want your attention. She will kick people out of my office.
Oh, damn.
She definitely working the game.
Yeah, yes, she is.
She understand the game too.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
All right.
Does she know?
Willie, Anetta.
I have no
think I
accountability.
have to co-sign with Christina, my middle child. I take accountability for after the divorce. I kind of was a mean girl, very mean person.
Was.
And
ignore it.
I was very, very mean, very, very bitter, very, very angry. So I didn't talk about their dad, but how I treated him was very profound. I treated him as if he didn't exist in my life or world anymore. So I take accountability for that because that put such a bad imagery for my daughter, for me. And our relationship has been shaky ever since then. So she's like, your daughter, like, she called me now. I need $1,000. Okay, I'm selling now. You know what I'm saying? She just had a wedding in September. I spent bukus of money.
Right.
My savings account was like, please do not take any more out of me. But it's like, I feel like I have to. She said the same thing. You love the boys more than you love me. They more your life.
There's always one.
They everything to you. I was an accident. I'm like, you was the middle. It was 2 kids after you're not an accident. Like,
right.
But again, I have to take responsibility on why she feels that way. I have to take responsibility on how I handle things and how she saw me handle things. She still believes I have no emotions.
Oh, wow.
And I think a great part of that, I have to take responsibility because I was the don't cry, don't show your emotions, just get through it. Smile and grin and get through it. It was a great coping mechanism for me at the time, but it was horrible to show her to be.
Right.
Because she wasn't being genuine with her emotions. So I have to definitely take accountability for that.
Okay.
I get how mothers share, but I just want to share. That's how my middle child, she uses against me a lot because she says, I never asked you and dad for anything. She's so independent. She's like the mama bear, and she's so independent, and she never does ask for anything. So I don't give her anything, but then I do little stuff like when we're out and I'm taking everybody shopping. I give everybody a certain amount of money to go shopping. She gets it, but I do more for the others because she's so more independent. So now, since I told her, I said, if you need something, just ask me. Oh, now she asking she needed $200.
Like you shouldn't have said it.
Really? It costs that much? Like, really? Well, Mom, you said, okay, I see how you say this one. I got one too. She don't like me. I know she liked me. She loved it, but Lord help me with this.
I have not gotten there yet, and I'm not ready. I am not ready.
That's funny.
I have one boy, one girl, and they always ask me who's my favorite, and I always say, "You are my favorite son, and you are my favorite daughter," and they buy into it all the time.
Oh, I have a whole nother tactic since I've got 6.
Yeah, what do you say? What do you say, Christine?
Oh, I only answer that question when we're one-on-one. So when we're one-on-one, you know you're my favorite, right? You know
that is hilarious.
They all try to get me.
Said to me today. He said to me today. He said, "Well, Andrew is your favorite." Said the oldest is my favorite, and he's a baby. I'm looking at him like, wow, you heard your siblings, they would say you the favorite.
Right.
Because you swell. You don't got to pay no rent. You don't got to do nothing. You 21. You just live here and do whatever.
What?
They like, yo, she used to take some of our money.
The name of the game with kids is manipulation.
You the baby.
All day.
People don't like to hear that word. People don't like to hear that word. But that's the name of the game.
They get me. That one is. But I say, y'all all came out of my womb. I don't know, I can't tell nobody who's favorite.
Look,
all y'all came up out of here.
Do you guys believe in favorites?
No.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know. I can't do it.
I don't know.
You know, right, Christine? It's hard, but I'm telling you, I can't do it. I'm not gonna let myself do it.
I really can't. I mean, I would have to think long and hard to find a favorite. I don't think I could.
I'm not gonna let myself
but I will tell you, with your comment about you all came out of my womb. My daughter, I'm in my office. Security was in my office. She walks in and she was like, can you get out of here? I want to talk to my mother. And he was like, well, I was here first. And did you have an appointment? And she's like, I don't need an appointment. I'm VIP. I came out of her. He was like, I didn't need that visual.
Crazy.
I will say this as a child that's one of 11. I will say yes, but there's varying reasons why, and I because I don't have the type of attachment that women do to children. I will say for different reasons. You have some kids who take to certain things better, so they make their mother's rearing of them easier, and for that particular reason, she may favor them over others when it comes to certain situations.
Well, I don't think it's just women.
I can kind of buy into that.
Fathers have favorites too.
I can't speak to that because I don't know my biological father. So that's the only reason I can preface it from the perspective of a son and a mother. Now, we've never asked our mother, who was a favorite, because we understood that we all brought, even though we all share some similar characteristics beyond the physical appearance, there were all things that we did that the others may not have done. And even when we get together as a family, those things stick out. Like, our differences stick out more than our similarities. And it was easiest for us to understand why some would be, that's one of the cats. It would be easier for us to understand. Now, if you ask us together, we might say the youngest, which is my sister, would be her favorite because of the way my mother doted on her. But that would be our particular opinion, not necessarily anything that our mother has ever said or done per se. So it's interesting to hear these responses, particularly from the women, in terms of how they handle it. We would just like David said, the game is manipulation with children, particularly with girls. I think girls learn at a younger age that they can get more than boys if they handle situations a certain way. And that's across the board, regardless of the ethnicity. And because of that, I think a lot of girls are get away. And I think Shaughnessy alluded to this earlier when her and Dave were talking about them getting involved in the situations that they were. And that is something that they carry with them through their lives, good, bad, or indifferent. That's, just some of the things I've seen in terms of the dynamics between sons and mothers and daughters and mothers.
If I could just interject on that, that's not totally correct for me. My oldest son, I had him young. He was spoiled. But he was manipulating me and his father because me and his dad was not talking. You know, we were separated. And he was saying one thing to his dad and saying one thing to me.
Hey, pitting y'all against each other.
So I went and knocked on his door one day and I was like, listen, your son's manipulating us. You know, and we had to nip that in the bud. He was surprised I knocked on his door, but it was important for me to get that nipped in the bud. And then with my daughter, she's she's just going through that. She's 16, her hormonal stage, you know, just all of that, and she's taking advantage of that right now. But she apologized, so I felt like that was I was proud of her. With, you know, coming to a point where she did apologize to me and her siblings for the way that she's been acting lately. And you know what I said to her? I apologized to her. I said, "No, we apologize." I said, "We love you. We're in a safe space we're family." And I said, "But I apologize. We apologize to you for what we did to help you get to that place." You know, because sometimes little brothers get on your nerves. You know, they always pressing buttons of their big sisters and they taking her stuff and whatever. But you know, it happens from both male and female. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I see it more with the kid's father. My daughter
I turn the manipulation stuff around because my kids are very competitive. So I haven't done it for the past 2 years because of the pandemic. But typically around Christmas and my birthday, I start posting stuff like here's some nice gifts for mommy. Anytime it's a gift giving, you know, thing, and I'll tag all the kids and
shameless.
Totally shameless. So somebody will get me something. I'll be like, you know, this might be my favorite child. The next one will try to outdo them. It works. It works.
I look forward to that age.
We're gonna flip it to Willie about this accountability, and we're gonna move on to the last point because we're gonna get through all of these damn points tonight.
Y'all can. I don't understand the question, so I don't have any accountability.
What do you mean you don't understand the question?
I really don't, because I'm just hearing people talk about kids and raising kids, so I'm kind of lost.
Everybody didn't talk about raising kids.
No,
hold on.
I'm kind of lost on the question, so that's why I wasn't saying anything.
I thought Willie speaks the truth. That's what I thought.
Hold on. Well, let me line up the pins for Willie. When you had your accident, how did you get back to optimal health?
Okay, so now, but see, I'm trying to understand what accountability is on that. When you say accountability, is it something you did or something you didn't do that you're taking accountability? Is that what?
Either or.
The question is, that's what I'm trying to understand the question.
Well, like when I led off with that, I was talking. It was like the time management piece, whatever. Like I probably was accountable for the piece of not securing the time to make sure my paper was done, and then I had to call off and not go to the intern that day, and the woman already wanted to see me as much as possible, so.
That was your accountability as far as making time to do what you're supposed to have done.
Yeah, like if I would have got the paper done, I wouldn't have went through that.
I kind of, like I said, I kept hearing the children questions, so I kind of threw me off. Well, like what Herb said about the fall, I could take accountability for that, but what came to mind as you guys were talking about it is the reason I've talked about it several times on the show, where I could say I could take accountability for being involved in a relationship that was not a good relationship. And I got involved with this person, and because of what I went through in my divorce, I clinged onto this person and became vulnerable to the point where they manipulated me to the point of just coming in and out of my life for 3 years, raising havoc. And so I think the accountability part for me is that I saw the manipulation, but because of what I went through, I was trying to cling on to somebody to just say that I had somebody. This, and that was the thing, because I didn't have anybody. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna show that I got somebody, that I'm healed. but I wasn't healed because the person took me through so much during that time to try to hold on to them. So I think my accountability would have been that I knew that it wasn't a good situation for me, and I allowed it to go on. And like I said, it really caught up with me when I realized that it had been 3 years and it hadn't gotten any better. It never, all of what I was trying to do and trying to show that person that, why are you doing this back and forth? And then, like I said, when I did give up, they would disappear. And I finally was like, move on. And then they would show back up. And if my feelings were, well, maybe it'll work out this time. And I was, you hoping for things that, in reality is not a good situation. And once I accepted that, which was, like I said, it took 3 years. And once I accepted that, then I was able to let it go. But it took me 3 years to let it go. And then at that point, it became a stalking situation. So that's.
I was going to say, was that stalk girl?
Yeah. So, that's where I could say the accountability is that I knew a long time ago that it wasn't, but because I was trying to hold on to it because I just wanted to have somebody, I didn't want to feel like I had failed because of my marriage had failed. So I was trying to hold on to this person to show that I could still be in a relationship when I really wasn't ready. And then that person took me through so much that it just, I didn't take any accountability. I kept kind of putting it on her. And I as a matter of fact, I used BG, was it?
BGS.
Yeah. Who was the one that came on the show that was counseling?
BGS.
BGS, yeah. When he said, asking the question why. The longer you ask why, the longer you stay in that situation. And that's what I kept doing. Well, why she keep leaving me for somebody else? Why she can't, why she keep coming back? Why this? And the more I kept asking why, that kept leaving the door open because then that would allow her to come in so I can ask the questions why. But he said, once you stop asking why, then it's over. Once you stop asking why and leaving that door open like that, and once I realized that, that's when I was really able to accept. Because I think even today, if I've still been saying why, I probably still would be waiting for her to come back.
Wow.
Just so I can ask why again. And so that's the accountability part is that, once I took accountability and said, it wasn't why, forget the why, but it didn't work out. And she moved, she's going back and forth. Don't let her come back this time. And once I said that, then when she tried to come back, I didn't let it happen. And she was disappointed. So I kept finding my front tire on my car flat for about 2 weeks.
She ain't there, Willie. Where she at?
She moved. I don't know where she moved to. But once
she ain't
that's when
yet.
I realized she had moved because my tire wasn't flat anymore. So
wow. All right. Quickly, whatever. The last point. If you could turn back the tide and talk to your 18-year-old self, what would you tell him or her? What would you tell that 18-year-old?
Not to do it. Don't get married. Why did you do it?
What?
I would.
Really?
I would have gotten married. I was too young.
You was married at 18?
Okay.
I got married at 18.
Oh.
I was too young.
Oh, wow.
I could tell myself not to do it. I didn't get to experience no boys, no, the dating, the hiding, and I didn't get to do any of that.
How long were you married?
I was married for 27 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So when you got married at 18, you was married for 27 years?
Oh, wow.
That was good. That's a good run.
Shit.
Yeah.
You made it seem like it messed up. It was messed up a year
That's
later.
27 years.
No, I would say the last 10 years were the worst years of my life.
Wow.
But I wouldn't have got married that young. And he was 6 years older than me. So it was a lot of dynamics I sit back and look at now that makes me evaluate it differently because I knew nothing. I came straight out of my grandparents' house. I knew absolutely nothing. Okay. School, I'm in school, married. Yeah, I mean, we didn't have kids till 7 years later after our marriage, after we were married. But still, it was just the mere fact that I was being somebody's wife and I was still somebody's baby. Okay.
When did you go to college? Because you have degrees, right? You have several degrees.
Yeah, I was in school
when did
while
you
I was
go?
married.
You were okay when you were married. You were going. I thought
We
so.
both were. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, that was one
But
good
he was
thing
further
about it.
beyond. He had graduated, was playing football, doing this, and I was just a little young girl walking around. You know what I'm saying? When I just remember incidents now that we're divorced and apart, where him and his brother and his girlfriend was like, "Oh, we about to go to club, etc." And I was like, "I can't go.
Club, etc.
You know what
Okay,
I'm
now.
saying?
Yeah, I know.
Spot to spot.
That's stuff like that. I remember, the Cotton Club and all those places they would go. I couldn't go because I wasn't 21. And another thing, I came from a very strong, structured religious background. So I'm coming from under a Church of God in Christ with bishops and superintendents and pastors. So I also was very inexperienced with, the street life and the party and this and that. I just never really got to live. So then after my divorce, I was like, free, what you want to do? You know what I'm saying? Because then I was like, oh, I want to live. But then I did that for like about 3 years. And I was like, is this what I was missing? I'm tired. Not realizing that it's not that you're tired. You're just old now. You can't get back that time.
At least she's telling the truth. I get it.
You can't get back that time. It's gone. You just got to move on. But if I could, not that I did not enjoy being a wife, and I enjoy definitely being a mother, but I would definitely tell my 18-year-old self to sit my tail down and learn something.
Who's next?
The only thing I really could say that I would tell my 18-year-old self now is take $1,000 a year, put it aside till you're about 30, and go and buy a house. A house or some real estate. That's about the only thing that comes to mind that probably would have impacted my life in some trajectory other than possibly going away to college. I had an opportunity to go to Syracuse on the same program that I went to Bus State. That's about the only thing I really would change. There's not much that I've done that I look back on that really would have impacted my life one way or the other to put me in a different perspective. So, but I've been fortunate, though. I listened to some of the people that were older than me when they told me certain things. So when I dropped out of high school at 16, the people were telling me to go back. I went back. So I graduated high school at 20. Didn't graduate college, but it really didn't have that type of impact that I believe it may have. And I could be wrong. Who knows?
Okay.
I think there's a lot of things I could tell my 18-year-old self that
A lot.
experienced since throughout these years.
I will definitely say it's all still going to be there. I wanted to be in a club so bad, 21. It was so bad that by the time I turned 21, I didn't even care for the club because I done been there for the past 3 years. And our parents who spoiled us to death, they're like, oh, y'all tired of the club? Let's go to Vegas when y'all turn 21 then. But I would be an 18-year-old. I would be 18. Just still be
relax and be a child.
Yes. I found myself meeting my children's father at I think 17. I was actually 17 when I met my children's father, but I was just too young to be involved in the stuff that I was. And thank God I wasn't hurt or harmed or injured in any way. But I definitely wouldn't have had, and my son is by no means a mistake or anything, but I would have definitely waited just a little while longer to have kids, just a little bit. But that's it.
Okay.
I think I probably feel the same as the rest of the women on the panel because I got married at 19, had my first child at 19. So I would have waited because And I don't, while I don't regret it, I really don't. It wasn't like it was anything horrible. However, I do feel like I should have had more life experiences. And especially the idea that I moved directly from my parents' house to my husband's, to be, living with my husband. So here I am at the age I am now, and I have never experienced living alone. And that is that thing that I want so much. I tell my kids all the time, I want to be able to set something down and come back 3 days later and have it
still there.
right there. That is the goal. So since I haven't experienced that, I would have said, wait, I would have told myself, just hold off, at least give you at least a year to 3 years. Give yourself some time.
So just
how many of your children are still with you now? Still at home with you now?
Oh, baby, I done turned the tables on everybody. I actually stay with my third daughter. So she's my fourth child.
Okay, so you stay with her. Okay.
I live with her and her 2 kids. Right before the pandemic, I had moved out of a 5-bedroom house because she bought a house and my son bought a house, and I just didn't need all that space. And I didn't know what I wanted to do next. I didn't know if I wanted a condo or a house or whatever. So the plan was to move in with her and maybe take 3-4 months and decide what I wanted to do. And then the pandemic hit. And so I've been here since then.
Good move. Keep it all.
It really did turn out to be
worked out. Yeah.
Exactly.
Keep all that money within.
I'm gonna do that eventually. I don't know which one I'm gonna move in with, but I'm gonna sell this. I'm moving in with somebody.
I told my kids.
Oh, you too mean to be living with somebody.
I had 6 kids, right? I'm like, y'all, I need all of y'all to have a house. I need a room in your house, and I'm just rotating.
That's it. That's the plan. That's the plan. That's the same thing.
2 months out of the year, somebody got me.
Yeah.
Somebody gonna take me.
And if it's not that, I'm buying an RV. I'm pulling up the driveway. I'm plugging into your electricity.
That's it right there. I'm with you on that. I love an RV.
I'm doing a barbecue on your front lawn. I'm doing everything to embarrass you that you did to embarrass me.
I hear that.
I'm walking through your house, spilling Kool-Aid and dropping crumbs. Anyway.
Who's next?
I think for me, 18. I thought it's funny. When I saw the question, I actually started thinking about it, to think about what I would have changed. And I had my daughter. Well, I moved out when I was 16, so my daughter was born. Actually, I call her my high school graduation present. I don't think I would have. Wouldn't have changed that, because she came at a perfect time for me. It made me more responsible when I got into college, because I think if I wouldn't have had her when I was in college, while I was attending college, I wouldn't have been as motivated to complete my degree, because I did it with her in mind, that I wanted to have my degree, so this way I could provide more for her as I prepared to save up money to buy my first piece of real estate. I think what I would have told myself was to start learning more about financial literacy back then, learning how to save money and invest it, and to, like I said, I was buying real estate, but I blew hundreds of thousands of dollars. And when I say hundreds of thousands of dollars, I blew hundreds of thousands of dollars. I had 7 businesses. I had 20 pieces of property. I had 10 employees. I had a lot of stuff going on, and I blew hundreds of thousands of dollars. I was flying to Florida on weekends just to hang out with friends and renting cars, sports cars. I mean, I was doing all kind of crazy stuff. Well, that was because I didn't. You know how it is. You grow up, you didn't have much, and now all of a sudden you have this, and you just want to do it all, And in the back of my mind, I posted about this the other day. In the back of my mind, a teacher told me when I was 18 that I would be dead or in jail before I was 18.
You did post that.
So that was sort of in the back of my mind that I need to do all I can just in case. And so that was, part of it too. But I went through, and I think if I could go back and tell myself something, I would say to, learn to invest and save, my money. Because like I said, I went through hundreds of thousands of dollars. At one point, I was making like $150,000 a year, and I blew through that money. I was traveling to Jamaica, the Bahamas. I was flying all over the country, Bahamas, Bermuda. I was just going to hang out with people. People would look up, and I'd be sitting at their door saying, "What y'all doing?" They'd be like, "I just talked to you this morning." They'd be like, "I just talked to you this morning, and now you're standing at my door." I'd get on a plane and fly to New York. My friend was having a birthday party. I told her I couldn't make it, and I flew to New York, went to her party, hung out all day at her party, got back on the plane and flew back to Buffalo that same day. I was in New York maybe 4 hours. I mean, I was just doing all kinds, I was just doing stuff. So I think that if anything, I would have told myself to be more responsible and learn more about financial literacy and how to invest and save my money a little bit better, a lot better than what I did, and I do now, because that's what I do. I teach kids and stuff now how to avoid the mistakes that I made and showing them how to save money and how to create businesses and those things. So I've learned now, but, if I could have taught myself back then, I think I would be a lot better off, but I'm still good. I've been blessed. I haven't worked in 2 years and missed a beat, so I'm good.
All right. For me, I probably would have, and I've talked about this before, at 18, I probably wouldn't let my friends influence so much of my decision. I was the quiet cat in our crew. I was the one about the books and all that stuff. And like I've said before, my father, he wasn't in my life. He left probably when I was like 10. So I didn't really have that male influence. And my grandfather, he was around, but he was about, like I said before, he was about making sure everybody was all right. So he would work and make sure everybody was all right. When it was time for people to get cars, he was there to make sure his credit was right, the cosign and all that stuff. But it was certain things that was said to me, or certain even relationships that I probably lost out on because I listened to my friends. And now I look back at it and I say, these dudes, they had shit going on. And they were pumping up my head. And some of that stuff, I put in different decisions. But also, I would have had more confidence in certain things, like internships when I got to college. But I was older. But I'm just thinking about, like, if I would told my 18-year-old self that, I would have had more confidence even going into college. And I think for people who's watching this, whatever, it's about learning and about thinking about certain things that you do that can impact the rest of your life. And granted, none of us are dead. We're still on this panel. We still can make moves and change up things, but I think to have that stuff in the back of your head, as you get older, you kind of think like, oh, I ain't gonna make that mistake twice. I ain't gonna listen. I'm gonna pay attention to who I listen to, and if they're not doing better than me, I'm really not gonna I might hear what they're saying, but it's not gonna have so much influence on me. So I think that had a lot of, man, I tell you, I had. Never mind. That's a whole other subject. But I think that was the key thing, like just not being influenced by others and maybe not having the people to go to tell you, nah, don't listen to that or listen to that. Because a lot of stuff I internalized and kept it into myself, but I weighed more on what my friends said instead of reaching out to others who might have had more experience. If that makes sense.
Yep.
So
I really didn't get a chance to share, but I think mine is somewhat along those same lines. I really take what my issue has always been men. So I'm grateful to say, I thank God I can say I've been successful in life with different things I choose to put my hands to. So I would say to my 18-year-old self, and I appreciate the lady saying this to me last week, and honestly do. It's been ringing with me. Don't get uncomfortable, but to learn to say no, just no to nonsense, and that's what I just like no. And I tend to just be okay, no problem. Let's go, fine, yeah. No, it took me 45 years to like reevaluate what people say to me and their intents. And I was always striving to be optimistic, giving people the benefit of the doubt. But when somebody is acting like an apple, they're an apple. If they're acting like an orange, they're an orange. You know what I mean? So so when people want to be a certain way in front of people, one way, but behind doors another way, you gotta see that for what it really is. And accept it for what it really is. And so now I just don't want to accept nonsense no more. I'm done with it. I'm done with it. And I appreciate you, ladies. I do. I appreciate this whole platform thing. I've grown a lot just in these conversations when it comes to not allowing my kindness anymore to be used for weakness. You know what I mean? Or allowing using it as an excuse. Let's say that. Using it as an excuse. I choose now to and I could even say like I've honestly been chilling by myself and it feels good. It really does feel good. When you allow, just we no longer allow nonsense to just keep being in your atmosphere. You know what I mean? No, I don't need that. I'm good. And that's how I have to say I truly have grown to that part. I was on the phone with a girlfriend today and she was saying some stuff that usually I would have chimed in, and I'm like, nah, I don't want that no more. I'm good. So that's what I would say to an 18-year-old girl, that every time a guy would want to come and talk to you, don't get flattered. Don't be so easily flattered because somebody's trying to pay you some attention. Just because they're paying you attention does not mean they're your person.
Or that they have good intentions.
And they have good intentions. And
you know what, look here, and that was the thing. That's what this platform is about, whether people don't know or not. It's us coming out, talking about our perspectives, sharing our experiences. It's not about going through, digging out research, saying 20% of this or whatever. It's just about us sharing, coming up with topics and sharing it and basing it on our experiences. That's all I ever seen with this. Like we sitting here just talking, just talking. Mm-hmm. And like I said, it would be nothing better for us all to say, oh, we're going to connect in the city. We're going to connect. We're going to plan it, and we're all going to meet up and hang out. And we're going to go live, and we're going to do that. It would be nothing. It would be nothing better than that, because
I'm with it. Can we wait till it warms up? Because all of y'all are north, right?
Huh?
Everybody else is north.
Yeah, we're all north.
So let's find a different destination. No, I'm not up north.
Oh, you're in the west. You're in Midwest.
I'm in the Midwest.
I'm in Virginia Beach.
You ain't in no. Are you in Virginia Beach?
Yes.
I'm gonna show y'all my
I didn't know that's where you were.
I am.
I'm for it. All we got to do is make it happen.
Let me know.
Can you see the snow?
Yeah, we don't want to go there.
I don't see no snow.
I don't want no snow.
Nobody want to see any snow.
That would be so simple to go to Niagara Falls for me, whatever.
Y'all don't want to go to Niagara Falls?
I looked out the window and that was it. I had no intentions of going outside.
Y'all don't want to go see the snow?
So we can go to Virginia. We can go where Christine at. We can go to Boise.
Yeah, I want to go to St. Louis. I've never been to St. Louis. I want to go see that arch thing. Is that where you are, St. Louis? That's where the arch is, right?
Whose screen is that?
Hey, we coming to St. Louis.
What about
Tell us when to come.
What about what?
Nashville.
That's Herb's yard. Herb need to go some of that snow.
I am so happy I am in Virginia Beach. Let me rub this in right now.
Look at that snow. That's
30. It's finally 33
snow.
degrees. And that's the coldest. This is like super, super cold winter advisory.
Oh, so it hasn't been colder than that?
No, it's
we need to go there.
That's what we need to go.
What's the
It's
temperature
been
there?
like 50 and 60 degrees.
Really?
No,
That's
absolutely not.
Virginia.
We're having a cold. This is a cold front right now.
We about to roll up on you, Shaughnessy. We about to roll up in Virginia Beach.
Absolutely fine.
Wow.
I know some bars will get nice and toasty.
We're going to Virginia Beach. Next homework is when we gonna make it happen.
Plan it out.
Yes.
I just need a nice cigar lounge.
You say you need a nice
cigar lounge.
I definitely will have to find that. I'll have to find that because I do not. I do know some in Maryland. I know some in Maryland.
Why are you shaking your head?
You know, we're not going to cigar lounge. No smoking allowed. No smoking allowed.
I can go.
We can leave them.
I have Uber.
No smoking allowed.
We can leave them.
No smoking allowed. You smoke cigars too, Shaughnessy?
Now, if I'm with my father and my sister's father-in-law, like we'll go to cigar lounges in Maryland, but I would never personally go to a cigar lounge. No.
Just on yourself. Okay.
Like if I'm on vacation, when we go to DR, we'll smoke a cigar, but I'm not. No, not really? Like just.
All that we can figure out later. We just need to come up with a date.
Yeah, we definitely come up with a date.
Place.
Let me know. I got a plan. I have an organization to run, so I got to make sure I can take some time.
All right. Well, we'll
get business going.
All right. So that's on the agenda for us to look when we're gonna make this happen. Then we're gonna talk about closing points. So we're gonna get our closing talking points, but it's only relative to what we talked about tonight. So that should get us generating for next week's conversations. But although I have a lot of talking points that people submitted before, so like it never ends. That's why we the top podcast in America.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
Speak it.
Speaking into existence.
That's right.
So who wants to give a closing point first?
I'll go. I'm actually prepared. So with the topics that we had tonight and everything, and even like Lakia's last point about how much she appreciated the advice given to her, and I think we all walk away from this show, this platform, these weekly broadcasts with a little something, exposed to something different, if nothing else, generating new thoughts and ideas in our head for our growth. And I just wanted, this is a quote, and it just says, "We rise by lifting others." And I think that this platform is designed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So
very much.
My closing points.
Very much. Well said.
Who's next?
I'll go next.
Yes.
Never let anyone disrupt what you do. As always, growth and understanding occurs in the greatest. See next time.
I'm like, what is that noise?
Video game.
How long did it take you to dig that out for the closing noise?
I'll go next. I want to say I really thank thank you for this platform. I've been doing lives and life coaching on Facebook for the past 6-7 years. I'm very transparent, and I've learned sitting in this gathering with all of you that I am overly aggressive, and I learned.
Oh, sorry.
I also learned that, and I'm supposed to be watching that after my sons and them watched this, and they said you got to work on your facial expressions. I learned that. I've learned a lot. I learned that I'm overly aggressive. I learned that I did learn some good things about myself in this platform as well. But I learned that I can be overly aggressive, and I learned that sometimes my views and how I do things, I try to deflect them on others to do the same thing. And as much as I talk about diversity, I also do that. So I learned that now I had to refrain from pushing my views on people and be able to allow people to be diverse and listen and be able to assist when they need the assistance instead of feeling like I can fix everyone. So this has been very opening for me. I actually have utilized some of this in my workspace as well.
Right. Nice.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate that.
I'll go next. I will. I was going to change my closing because people change their closing, but I found myself using that during the week because I had been attacked by a person.
It's been a lot going on, man.
Several
In the Council's
posts.
Corner.
I was attacked by several
Dang, I
posts.
missed something.
And
who attacked you?
And as a result, I went to their page to look to see what they were talking about, so I had to go look to see what this person looked like, since they calling me all kind of names and this, that, and the other. And when I say I got to stick with my post, headshots can be deceiving. And I'm telling you, that's going to be my motto for 2022, 23, 24, because the more I say it, the more I find people are posting these headshots. And
so wait, what does that actually mean? Does that mean that like somebody is made up? Does it mean like from the shoulders up they may look good and their body is disgusting? What does that mean?
It means all you want to see is the head.
Right.
Anything below the head is fair game, and it ain't normally fair. So and a lot of times you could tell if you really look at a person's headshot, you kind of tell what's going on with them. And this person dogged me, was going off on me on Facebook because they didn't like a post, they didn't like a statement I made. And so they went in on attack, and I became the N-word and broke nigga and all kind of stuff. So I had to go see who this person was. I had to go see who this person was, and like I said,
what did they body look like? How was their body?
Headshots can be deceiving.
Well, that's funny. So this is my thing, because we all on here and recording. I have seen comments where people try to attack some of us on the panel, especially men that are overly aggressive on here. To some of us, I am going to say this, and I'm going to be very open and transparent. I can fight with the best of them. I can debate with the best of them. I have words that will make you go and look in your dictionary. I have words that will make you question your mother, why you even exist. But however, I wouldn't do that because it's not about tearing somebody down.
Right.
Because a man feel like he can get behind a computer screen and try to assassinate or try to intimidate or try to bully another woman, it just speaks of your character as a man. Any man that can get on a computer screen and say to a woman, that's why you can't get a man. That's why you this. That's why you that.
You have women saying the same thing too. That's the thing.
And women too. It makes me look back. We got a lady that I call her the nasty bitter troll, who get on there and put up stuff about men all the time. My thing is, you're bitter, you're hurt, you're broken. Go lay on somebody's couch, get fixed, get help. My thing, I'm not gonna give that energy to somebody going back and forth. I had somebody on the couch thing want to go back and forth with me. I'm not giving you that.
It ain't worth it.
Sitting there talking about the money you making. I seen your post 2 hours after you posted because
baby, you don't got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'd be
So,
funny. It'd be
my
funny to
thing
me.
is like I just don't have the energy and the time. And anybody at this stage in life going through the pandemic where we have lost so many lives, if you got that much energy to sit here and make nasty posts and assassinate and to try to tear down other women, you really need to go sit next to your mama and ask her what she do to you.
You know, and that's
Men and women. I mean, you kind of attacking both.
Yeah, it goes both ways.
I
Go
just
both
had a
ways.
conversation today about that one Vivian put on about the man with the penis thing, with the eggplant and whatever.
Oh.
Like, you know,
Oh, the 10-year challenge was that?
yeah, the
Yeah.
10-year
Yeah.
challenge.
Challenge, yeah.
Okay,
You
it
know,
was
of
a
course
joke.
they
I don't
come
know
in
about
with their comments, but you know, I got some pew pew pews. I got some good things to say. You know, like this.
I don't think anybody responded to that comment because for most of the men in the group, that's probably not even applicable.
No,
I thought it was
here's the
funny.
thing.
I didn't
I
even
don't
pay
agree
no
with you,
attention.
Herb.
Thing
It's
is
very applicable.
I
It's
thought it
very
was funny. I laughed
but
at it and
because
kept going.
people laughed or made,
So,
comments in
men don't
reply,
think
not
that other
directed
men
at
are going
anybody.
through
There were certain
ED
ones
or
that were
menopause,
attacking.
Listen.
menopause.
Some of them were
They are.
offended by it because it probably hit home with some of them.
Because their little thing don't get hard no more, so they mad. That's
Some
the
of
only
them, that's
reason
all.
you would be
Things
mad.
don't get hard anymore. Can't please nobody, and then they want to be mad at us, like they want to throw shade. But I've been on BGS's thing too, so you know I'm brave because I've been went into the man cave, the BGS man cave, with some comments, and had some conversation over there about the same thing. ED, like, do y'all ever talk about things that's what you need to talk about next time? Put on a
Ask y'all for talking points.
erectile dysfunction. How
Yeah, y'all
men
can bring that up.
how men go through menopause just like women go through menopause, and it's not just a woman thing.
I
And
asked
so-
something similar. I asked, would people stay if they weren't sexually satisfied? And everybody agreed that it's a no for the most part, unless it's something that can be taught. Everybody was like, nope. Nope.
So
nope.
it's crazy how these men are in denial. That's all I'm saying. But I laugh at it. But so from the conversation
much
today,
so.
one of the guys inboxed me and tried to boo me up. Talk about where you at? You still do, just try to. I'm like, I'm in a relationship.
What was he like? Wait a minute, I thought you was mad.
Yes, sent me pictures, everything, trying to get me to be like. He said, "I'm starting to like you." Look,
I had one of them, Lakia, told me, he's like, you just need a man. You need a man to tame your mouth and tame your tongue. So
I had one that found me on Instagram.
Wow.
I told him, I said, do you want me to pay for your flight?
I know this not happening in the counselor's corner.
I found one. I sent you a screenshot.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I
I
use the word loosely,
Be
nigga.
weird.
They be all in. So somebody came for me about using the word nigga. Sorry. So I was like, that was funny. But it'd be funny to me when I have time. But most of the time I don't have time.
If I have time, I will introduce entertain
right
certain people. But this Theo Sec young guy today, I was really asking a question.
It was too much.
Yeah, like I just was asking.
He the one that went off on me. He bitter.
He real bitter. He is.
Y'all leave Theo alone. He got the Brazilian woman. He got the Brazilian woman now.
But
is that who that is?
I agreed with him in the statement that he made about I think, Christine, you have put up about biracial relationships or whatever. I agree with it. I said it doesn't. Your heart does not determine the race of who you be with. He came back and was like, "You don't know what you're talking about." He said, "Come back when you have some intelligence, because right now you're just stupid." And if you don't know anything, I think he wakes up. Like
trying to bash women because I asked him. I didn't disagree with him. I asked him. I said because he said something about a single woman purchasing a home. So I said, "Would you?"
So that was a lot of fire. That
he went on me about that today.
All I asked was, and it was a true and genuine question. Would you suggest a single woman rent until she finds her man or a husband? He told me, he said, do you have married women in your family? Well, ask that because I don't feel like I need to help you with that goal in your life. That's not a goal in my life. I have my own home, hun. I was asking you, since you put that out there, what was your thoughts on it? Yeah, I'm not going to give you that.
Yeah, he's not going to answer. He's not going to answer you straight for a question.
Listen.
He went in on me today. He was off on me. I told him, I said, I'm done with this conversation, dude.
Listen, understand this. And a lot of people get it twisted. They think that like I support all this. Like I said, it's people's opinions. I don't know if people want to join it, they join it, and that's their opinion. That don't necessarily mean that I believe in whatever the case. One of the things when they talk about
fuel to the fire, David, you put fuel to the fire sometimes, sir. That's all I'm saying.
Lakia, don't get your ass cussed out now. Don't play with me.
Fire, David. Don't be acting like you trying to keep the conversation going. But what about this? Well, are you saying that? I've been seeing you.
No, it's just a little thing.
Yes, we do. He be instigating.
Okay, some of the conversation I want to take it a little further because it's not reputable damage. So I'll take it a little further. But people always like, oh, the single mother thing. Listen, I was raised by a single mother, so I'm not going to subscribe to that one way or other. But other people may feel different about it, so I just let it go on and on. But that's a whole different story. Who has their last closing? It's a couple of us who didn't get their closing comments. We got some homework to do.
Closing comment, I just changed it. The men in the counselor's corner, please stop being bitter. We promise we love you. That's it.
And we
Lies.
About the conversation. We ain't upset.
I love your bitter ass.
We ain't bitter. We ain't over there.
I say go get healed.
You got the other one telling you on the couch.
Some of y'all women go get healed too. Stop.
We have to spread love.
Hey, I got my VIP seat, Herb. I got my VIP seat on the other side of the couch.
Anybody else?
I'm gonna start saging.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's right. Burn the counselor's corner down, trying to sage all that negativity out.
Oh, my phone died. It was just about real growth and how real growth starts from within, dealing with yourself, and that's where real growth takes place. You know, just critiquing yourself, working on yourself, and that's what, you know, I've always felt like that's what's going to help other people be better when you know this. Okay, let me share this. And that goes with that growth. So the gentleman that inboxed me from the counselor's corner said he doesn't trust women. He has a lot of women he deal with. And he said, oh, everybody's suspect. I said, well, that must come from within. That ain't from outside. That's from inside. Because if everybody else suspect, then you must be suspect. When you have trust, more of a trust factor for more people, then you are more of a trusting person. So growth comes from within.
All right. So, and like I always say, you put these conversations out there. We know it's going to be diverse perspectives, and you're going to grow. You're going to learn. Even if somebody say something out of the ordinary, you're still going to grow because you're like, damn, it's somebody who thinks like that. And it's probably more people that think like that just not willing to speak up like that. So that's the beauty of it all. We need to just keep having these conversations, and you're gonna feel uncomfortable at times. If you want to ball out, the same people complain all the time. The council or this group, this and that. Their asses ain't with nowhere, so they still enjoy the conversation because they're peeping in and they're learning and they're growing and they like, because like I always said, it's about our different perspectives. There's no absolutes. People think different on certain situations. Let's keep talking. Let's keep growing. And for our panel, let's plan this. Let's get together. Where's it at? In Virginia? Let's make it happen. And come up with a date and we just have a good time. We go live and we say, we're going live in the counselor's corner, and they see us as a unity and they be like, oh, they real. They real about this. Hey, let's make it happen.
Sounds like a great idea, people.
Yeah,
so with that,
I'm with it.
With that,
are y'all into hotels, Airbnbs? What kind of situation are y'all looking for?
Hey, we
I
can
don't want
find
to stay in
a
an Airbnb.
Airbnbs might be cool.
Yeah, it'd be nice. You got about what we need 6. How many of it?
yeah. If we was all together,
7
whatever, in the Airbnb.
7 Airbnb.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And
Yeah.
do the show right there.
7-bedroom
Yeah.
Airbnb.
Yeah.
We can film the whole thing, the whole time we're together.
Yeah.
Just have little
Like a damn reality
snippets.
show.
Yeah,
And Herb, you can't bring that
That's a
cat.
reality show.
yeah. No, he ain't gonna bring no
No,
cat.
And Herb, you can't bring that damn cat either.
No way. No.
Stay in your quarters, really.
No cats. I will
No
not be
cats
attending.
allowed,
Bring your
Herb.
George Foreman either.
I was gonna make it quasi derogatory.
But I can tell y'all one thing. I can tell y'all one thing. The women will be cooking. Yeah, I ain't gonna say that.
Oh,
I'm just
Lord.
playing.
I want to live
I'm
and make
just
it back
playing.
home.
I'm just playing.
I won't.
I'm
I
okay with
absolutely
that.
won't
I
be.
actually love cooking.
I'll be
won't
on
be.
vacation. Maybe
No.
guys can be grilling.
I'm just playing because
Guys
Willie
can
might
be
want to cook.
grilling.
Herb might want to cook. Y'all don't want me to cook, so
I ain't cooking.
I'm just gonna be neutral.
I ain't cooking. I'm
Willie,
on
never,
vacation.
Willie always putting meals on his page. Willie,
Exactly.
I'm not
I'll-
cooking.
yeah, like he don't want to cook.
I'm not cooking. I might
I'm
cook one
definitely
night.
not
I might do
cooking.
a special one night and cook. I don't know. We'll see.
You know you like
I'll
Let's
be
see
ready.
how y'all act.
meals you put on your
Let's see how
page.
y'all act. Cause y'all get all together. All four of y'all
I'll
get
cook.
together.
I'll
We
bake
might
y'all
have
a
to
cake and bake some cookies for y'all too.
with some
All
weed
right.
in it.
Yeah.
With some weed in it.
Oh, we got it.
Alright.
Oh, so Shaughnessy, since you hosting, you might as well look into this Airbnb and tell
I
us
am.
when and where.
I definitely.
Okay.
But I don't know when y'all wanted to do this. I just don't know
When it's
The
warm.
weekend.
Yeah, well, definitely when the weather does
The weather break.
yeah, flying in this.
Oh, I ain't
Daddy
going nowhere in January, February.
canceled that one
Okay.
airport.
I think it's ORF, Norfolk International.
Oh, okay. Like
Norfolk
April, May, June.
Oh, yeah, talking about like half a
Oh,
year.
wait a
Like that
minute.
shit too
I have
far.
a graduation in
I'll
May.
come and visit you
Yeah.
guys. I can't. I gotta get my head in the game. I have a sister, nieces, and nephews that live there. They just bought houses. I know 99.9%. I'm gonna stay with them, but I'll be coming hang with y'all.
Whatever.
Yeah. All right, yeah. We gonna have to reevaluate that.
So
We'll
happy
figure it
graduation.
out.
We'll figure it out. But if y'all talk about May, June, like 7-8 months,
April.
it should happen before
Really?
that.
That's not
I know I'm not going to February. I ain't going to February. I know that.
that long.
Yeah,
I was just about to say it's almost February.
Right.
True.
Look
March
at
or
David
April.
being all impatient.
And it depends on what you guys are trying to do. Do you guys want to go to the beach? Do you guys not want to go to the beach? Are you just looking to
Hey,
get
listen,
a break from-
these men on here ain't trying to go to no beach.
Oh, okay.
What you trying to say? We trying to say we
know what she's trying to say.
got
Well, okay. Well, you lost 50, 60 pounds, so you good. But ain't nobody trying to go to no beach.
What
for
are you
yourself.
doing no shirt
Speak
Monday?
for yourself.
What do you do no shirt
We don't
Monday?
want to see you in no speedos.
Fridays.
We don't want to see you in
No,
No
it's
shirt
Friday.
Friday.
Sorry,
That's
Gray
Will
sweatpants
Will
Mondays.
won't be in speedo. Ain't nobody trying to see you in no speedo.
Grace, what? Grace, oh my God.
You know.
Gray sweatpants Mondays.
No, we wearing no
No
speedos.
shirt Fridays.
Don't do that.
Speedos Wednesdays.
Don't do it. Herb, get
All right,
your
y'all.
bike right, Red. Get your bike together. Get it down before we get to the
We'll be
beach.
back on point next week because I can't do this shit from the phone. This shit is mad aggravating.
I'm going for it.
Y'all have a blessed evening. Happy Martin Luther King Day and all that good stuff.
Yes, good night.
I will see y'all next week.
Y'all be good.
Good night. Have a
Keep
good
dropping
night,
the posts in the
everybody.
counselor corner. All right, good night.
Definitely.
All right.
Deuces.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, my thing.